See it on my face, I made up my mind. Not another day, you're on borrowed time. Let me get away, yeah I'm running, yeah I'm running. So love me or leave me, I'm standing alone. Can't shake a feeling that lives in my bones. Lie to me, tell me you wish that you could, but nothing you gave me is worth what you took. 'Cause baby, when I'm gone for good. Feel it rising up, then I push it down. Saying you're in love, I could go without. Let me get away, it's over now, it's over now. So love me or leave me, I'm standing alone. Can't shake a feeling that lives in my bones. Lie to me, tell me you wish that you could, but nothing you gave me is worth what you took. Walk away, don't look. Baby, when I'm gone for good. Came in and you're looking like a sign of grace. I know, but I can never match your name or face. My fault, I didn't notice it was out of place. You painting fairy tales on the wall. Calling to the better of the halves of me. Please show me just a little bit of honesty. I'd hope I got a heart that I can salvage, but it's getting harder now to recall.
Ladies and gentlemen, yo, welcome to Hack Smarter Live. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Tyler. I am your host. And yo, super excited to have all of you taking the time to hang out with me. Do want to let you know as we get started that I am live right now on 3 different platforms, and you can join on whatever platform works best for you. But I am live right now on Twitch, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Over on YouTube and LinkedIn, you can just find me under my name, Tyler Ramsby. And over on Twitch, I stream under the name Hack_Smarter. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Tyler Ramsby, Twitch is Hack_Smarter. And super excited to be here. Like, if you guys follow me, usually a few things out of the ordinary. Usually I do not stream on Tuesdays, but the reason I'm streaming tonight is tomorrow night I am doing a presentation at a Discord. I got invited to talk about one of my try-hacking machines. I'm going to give a presentation on that, guide the people through the try-hacking machine, explain some of the background on that. If I had the Discord link handy right now, I would drop it. But what's cool is it's a Dutch Discord. Like, they don't even speak English as their primary language. So I'm super excited to join them tomorrow night. But as a result, I will not be live tomorrow. So here I am this evening. And second, my kids are at my in-laws. So usually I don't go live until my kids are in bed. But here I am, like a normal person. When they have kids not home, they relax, play video games. I just freaking hack stuff because I don't have a life. So it's good to have all of you hanging out with me, not having a life alongside of me. But excited for this stream tonight. Here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to start with some AWS pen testing, some AWS hacking. Then I think I'll switch over to Try Hack Me. We were working on the advanced client-side attack module, if I remember right, or I might just pick a random machine from Hack the Box. Honestly, we'll just see what I feel like doing after I work through some of the AWS stuff. But let me look over at chat, get all the chat pulled up real quick. We have almost 30 people already between the different platforms. That's super exciting. Over on Twitch, we got MyKill, we got the one and only Netfos, we got DJ Toy 21, we got Yogi Bear, we got Laughing. Yo, what is up, y'all? Thanks for joining. We could also start with a typing race. I know Laughing's been prepping for that, and I could pony you guys all at typing, but that might be a fun way to kick it off. Let me look over at YouTube. Over on YouTube, we got Jeffrey Allen, we got Christopher Whitlock, we got another Christopher Young, we got Eldritch Mulder, and let me scroll through. I see your questions, Christopher Young. I'll jump to those in a second. Kelvin Usuin, if I'm saying that right. We got Malware Combat, Dario TG. What is up? Oh, Laughing said, I only got a 94 today for 60 seconds. My typing has been slacking. All right, well, let's see how I do. And we just got a subscriber. Yo, MyKill86, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. And I guess I always forget to say that, but we'll let you guys know if you do appreciate what I do. You can support me in a few different ways. One is just be here. Super excited to have you taking the time to hang out with me. But on Twitch, you can become a subscriber over on Twitch. Over on YouTube, you can become a member of the YouTube channel. We have 2 different levels over there. But look, I don't believe in paywalls, so I want to be very honest. If you become a member or you support me in some way, you don't get special access to anything. I believe in no paywalls. I believe in doing everything for free. So I want to make sure all the content I make, all the teaching I do is accessible for anyone and everyone, regardless of their financial ability to pay for it. So just know, if you become a member or anything, it's a way that you can show support, but you don't get any special features, which makes me terrible at marketing. But it is what it is. Over on YouTube, you can also do a one-time gift via a super chat. But should we do a typing race, guys? Should we just kick it off with the typing race before we start hacking? So, yeah, I started early, so I'm here early. And because I'm early, this is what I say we do. We do a typing race as we wait for people to join, and then I'll answer some of your questions. I see questions already coming in. Let me get typing race pulled up, and then I will share my screen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the races. We are going to do our Typer Racer Global Typing Competition. I always forget how to do all this. So we are going to create our racetrack. And I'm going to copy this URL. Okay, I'm going to drop the URL in all the platforms. So everybody come join in quick. I think it might auto start. So like, if you want to be in the race, make sure you join right now. Okay? Join in. I know there's like 30, almost 40 of you watching, so come join the race with us. I see a lot of people joining in, so once you get in here, you have to hit join race. Put an OSCP voucher on the race. All right, guys. Got my typing hands ready. Oh, I'm the owner. I have to start the race. I'm like waiting for the owner to start. I'm like, guys, can you start it? But I realize I'm the owner that has to start the race. So waiting for the owner to start. Anyone else want to join? I'll give you guys just a few minutes. I don't know how many people we can have in the racetrack, but all right. Christopher Young says loading. That's fine, dude. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute to join in. Put an OSCP voucher on the race. So I kid you not. I've at least met one person who figured out how to use JavaScript to cheat. They got like 400 words per minute. So it is possible to cheat at this game. They do rate limit you, like they try to stop you, but you can definitely cheat. All right, let's give it a shot. I'm gonna hit start race. If you weren't able to join, maybe I'll do one more race after this. We'll see. Here we go. Ah! Done. 112 words per minute. Just beat all of you because I'm better typing. Now it thinks I cheated, so I have to do this typing thing. I don't know what I messed up some of those words, but there, I just did 129 words per minute at 99% accuracy. Oh, we had someone come close. That's the closest anyone's ever come to beating me. Who was 104 words per minute person? Let me know in chat. I want to know who you are. We got 9. This is actually like, you guys killed it. Usually people are all in like the 60s, and you guys are all above that. And whoever was the 104, that was close. Laughing said I was third, but I go over 100 easy on that one. Furno Sex said 'twas me. All right, guys, we can try it again. Do we just hit try again? Let me just try. Oh wait, no. Do I have to wait till? We have other people typing. Guys, whoever you are, you're at 0 words per minute. Step your game up. All right, 5 more seconds. We'll do one more game before we dive into the actual stream. Come on, someone beat me. If someone beats me, I'll do another game, but someone needs to be able to beat me. Get ready. I'll hit start race. Or is it going to automatically start? All right, come join in the race. There you guys go. Join in. We'll do one more. And then I see we're getting a bunch of questions over in the chat, so then I'll knock out the questions. But this is intense. Now that I know some of you are hitting 100 words per minute, this is going to be close. My record on stream, I think, was 140 words per minute playing this game. All right. Get your hacking fingers ready. And let's do this. Ah! Done. All right, first place. Good. I want to make sure no one beat me. 114 words per minute. What up, Blaze Bits? Cheer 100. Thank you, my friend, for the cheer. All right, I just beat you all twice in a row. You guys got to practice your typing skills. I don't even practice this thing. So, at our next typing race, you guys make sure you practice between now and then. You go to play.typeracer.com. You practice on it, and we'll do this again in an upcoming stream. Who was second place? Who was blue car? Let me know who was second. Who got second on this beast? Oh, Furno said I started late. That sucks, man. Early bird gets the worm. Early car gets the star. Oh, Laughing was second. Gotcha. All right, I'm going to... You guys can keep playing typing races if you want. Let me Let me look over at chat because I know there's a lot of questions that came in, and I'll hit these questions real quick before we dive into stuff. I'm just going to pull one of my screens over just so I can see everything a little bit better. So starting with YouTube, what questions do we have here? Christopher Young asked this. Tyler, how did you get started in cloud pen testing? I'm under the impression that it's actually radically different from web app or internal network ethical hacking. I wouldn't say it's radically different, Christopher. A lot of the same concepts and principles apply. I mean, the cloud is just, somebody else's computer, but there's a lot of terminology and way of interacting with things in the cloud that you need to learn, some newer tools, but your standard pen testing, ethical hacking methodology does apply to the cloud. You just have to think about it a little bit differently. The way I got started in cloud pen testing is I work at Rhino Security Labs, and we're known for cloud pen testing. We created Paku. Paku was like Metasploit for the cloud for AWS. We created CloudGoat, which is vulnerable at AWS environments that you can spin up and learn cloud pen testing. And I thought, shoot, since I'm at Rhino, I should probably learn AWS stuff. So I just kind of shadowed on some AWS pen test, learned it on my own, and now I do AWS pen testing. So that's how I initially got started, and still have a lot to learn on that, on those things. And yeah, Laughing, it is doing well. So Laughing, I didn't know if you were okay with me sharing about the keyboard. I want to share about it, but I wanted to get your thoughts or permission first. So if I can share about the keyboard, let me know in chat. Okay, cool, guys. Before I answer more questions, I do want to share something cool that happened. And I'm even gonna read the note just because I thought this was so cool. I'll take out any personal details. Obviously, I won't share that stuff. But Laughing over on Twitch, if you guys see his username, he heard me talking about my $20 Logitech keyboard. I don't even know where it's at. My one keyboard was so broken, I was using a towel and I was putting it underneath the edge of the keyboard because the clippy thing broke off and I couldn't fix it. So every time I used my keyboard, I had to put a towel underneath one edge of it so it wouldn't bounce as I was typing. Finally, I was like, all right, I'll get a $20 cheap Logitech keyboard. Freaking Laughing. Yeah, let me grab this. Remove any identifying stuff real quick. All right. I think I can cover most of it. So Laughing goes out. I don't know if you guys can see this, but Laughing goes out and buys me this Keychron V6. Buys it, puts it together, like builds it, customized mechanical keyboard. I'll show it to you guys, like if you can see it. It's pretty awesome. And he mailed it to me, guys, just as a gift, which was amazing. So thank you, Laughing. And he sent me this super nice note. So I'll just read to you guys this note because I thought this was so cool. He said, Tyler, whoops, I'm opening calculator on my screen. Tyler, I could not in good conscience continue to let you use a $15 keyboard. Here's something that should be just a bit better. Since I know you usually stream at night after your kids are in bed, and I know the pain of trying to make YouTube videos with a noisy keyboard, I built this keyboard with silent switches that should reduce the keyboard noise quite a bit. These are the switches I use in the keyboard I'm currently using, and I enjoy them quite a bit. The spacebar is still a bit noisy, which is often the case with bigger keys. I put some dampening foam in the spacebar to try to reduce the sound a little bit, and there's an extra piece in the box if you'd like to cut up some more and stick it in there. Other than that, this should be quite a bit less offensive than your typical clacky mechanical keyboard. I went with the hacker aesthetic for the keycaps and wasn't sure if you'd like the bright green, so I've included the rest of the keycap set in the box for you to mix and match as you prefer. There's a keycap and switch puller in the box, which will help you remove the keycaps and switches if you ever decide to customize those. The switches are hot swappable, so if one comes out when you're pulling the keycap, don't worry, you can reinsert the switches very easily. Just make sure the pins are straight when you put it back in. There are tons of YouTube videos that can help if this happens. Hope you enjoy the keyboard and happy hacking. And then from Laughing. So amazing, dude. Honestly, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. The other thing, guys, like, this blows me away, the people who watch. Someone else who watches the stream, I'd have to look at Discord for their names. I get all the names confused between the different platforms. But someone else who watched the stream was like, yo, Tyler, do you ever plan on making content about the Flipper Zero? And I said, well, if I had a Flipper Zero, I'd make content about the Flipper Zero. And I kid you guys not, this person, like from the official Flipper website, bought me a Flipper Zero and mailed it to my house right before I went on vacation. So I haven't had a chance to mess with it. So it's like still in its everything's sealed up and everything. I haven't even looked at it, but like I now have a flipper from someone on stream/Discord bought me a flipper. So I don't ask for it. It's insane. So thank you all of you who are part of this and hanging out. So I need to dig into this. Need a PO box opening video. Seriously, I need to start making those videos. My only problem with that is like I want to be very careful that I don't expose people's real identity, because unlike me, most people have screen names online and sometimes they don't want them connected to their real identity. But if they mail me something, I of course have their full like name, address, and everything, and I don't want to expose that on people. Me, like my screen name is Tyler Ramsby and my name is Tyler Ramsby, so my OffSec skills are non-existent. But let me set this up there. So those are the two gifts from people watching. So thank you, everyone, and thanks all for being part of this craziness. I mean, it still blows me away that people are even here. Like, guys, I don't know if you realize this. Like, what are we at right now? Yeah, we have quite a few on the different platforms. When I started streaming, I think I started live streaming probably 1.5 to 2 years ago. And like consistently for at least the first few months, I would have one viewer, and that one viewer was me on my smartphone sitting next to me and making sure the stream was going okay. So now that there's like people who hang out here on stream, who offer feedback, who offer advice as we go through stuff, thank you. You guys are amazing. And offer stands as well at DEF CON. Let me know in chat, for all of you in chat right now on the different platforms. LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, half the time I can't see the chat, which I don't think I can see it right now. If you leave a comment on LinkedIn, I don't get back to you. It's because LinkedIn's live stream sucks. But who's going to be at DEF CON? Let me know in chat if you're going to be at DEF CON. If you are going to be at DEF CON, DM me over on Discord or join the Hack Smarter Discord. Let me show this to you guys real quick, because that's going to be the best way for us to do like some type of meetup. But if you go over to hacksmarter.org, easiest way to get to our Discord, hacksmarter.org, you can get to the Discord right there. We have a Discord channel for DEF CON and would love to meet up with you. I will be at DEF CON the entire time. I think the only meetup I have planned right now is Simply Cyber with Dr. Jerry Ogier. They are doing a meetup, I think, on Friday afternoon. So I'll be at that meetup for sure. Otherwise, my plan at DEF CON is just to wander around, meet people, do some CTFs, get into some hacker shenanigans. So if you're gonna be at DEF CON, reach out to me on Discord. Would love to grab drinks, grab food, do some CTFs, hack stuff together. But yeah, fun stuff. All right, back to answering questions over on chat. And thank you again, Laughing, for that, the gift of that keyboard. Honestly, amazing. All right, scrolling through on YouTube right now, then I'll jump over to Twitch. Okay, Dario TG asked a question. Hi, Tyler. I feel overwhelmed with so much information, and I feel like I'm not learning. What path do you recommend for me to become a SOC analyst? You know, Dario, like the tough thing for me to answer that question is I'm not a SOC analyst, right? So like what drives me crazy about some of the YouTube influencers is they'll be like, hey, they'll make an entire video. Here's how you become an ethical hacker. And you look at their resume and not once have they worked as a pen tester or an ethical hacker. I'm like, what the frick are you giving me advice when you've never done it for your job ever? So I say all of this, Dario, with the caveat, I have never been a SOC analyst, so I may not know the best path, but what I can say is looking at the resources I've used, Hack the Box Academy is a really good place to start. Hack the Box Academy has like a blue team path, cybersecurity defense, I don't remember what it stands for, but on Hack the Box Academy, if you have a .edu email, you can get a sub for $8 a month and get full access to that path. Additionally, if you want something more affordable, even free, I think a lot of it's free, try Hack Me as a SOC level 1 analyst, SOC level 2, and security engineer pathways over on Try Hack Me. And those would be good things that I recommend. But in addition to that, as you work through those paths, whichever one you choose, make sure you document what you're learning. Like if you're comfortable talking like what I'm doing now, start a YouTube channel and just share what you're learning. That's why I started mine. I wanted to be a pen tester. Didn't know how I was going to get there, but I thought I'll just make a YouTube channel where I share what I learned, and maybe a future employer will take a chance on me, and it worked. So document what you're doing. YouTube, make a GitHub, make a blog, whatever you're comfortable with. Just make sure you're documenting and sharing what you are learning. Malware Comment says he's going to finish his CS degree this week. That's amazing, dude. Congratulations. All right, scrolling through. Oh, dude, BlazeBits. I don't know if you're still over on Twitch, but you're famous. Christopher Young said over on YouTube, I didn't know BlazeBits knew about you. I was recently introduced to him by another Marine. Yeah, dude, BlazeBits is awesome. That's who I usually raid most of the time. Hey, Bottleneck, I saw your question. No, we're going to do some labs, dude. We're just getting started, so I'm just answering questions, and we're going to jump into some labs. We're not just doing an AMA. Hey, Tyler, how may I connect with you? Discord, my friend. Find me on Discord. My name on Discord is Tyler Ramsey. That's my name everywhere, but that's the place. We got the real Bilbo in the house. Whoop, whoop, made it. Thanks for giving us your time again, Tyler. Hey, thank you for being here. Excluding THM, any resources? Oh, excluding THM, any resources for Kubernetes? Yeah, isn't there a Kubernetes goat? Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, so there is. Here, let me grab this. Pull this over to my other screen. So on the Kubernetes side of things, you said not counting THM. There is Kubernetes Goat, so sort of like Cloud Goat. This will help you spin up intentionally vulnerable cluster environments so you can learn and practice Kubernetes security. And hey, it's free. That's the other cool thing. So check this out. This might be a good spot to learn Kubernetes. Have I found the Hack the Box Academy servers are buggy? I don't think I have found that. Windows machines on there can be buggy. Just to confirm, your name on Discord is Tyler Ramsey. Yep, that is my name. Yeah, dude, FernoSec, drop a link here. I don't know if the silly spam filter will block you, but give it a shot. See if you can drop it, and I'll share it. Okay, sweet. It didn't block you. Let me grab it. So here is a link from FernoSec over on Twitch. And he has some articles on Kubernetes. You can see the tag here. Let me drop this in YouTube so those of you on YouTube have it, and also drop it on LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to see and learn more Kubernetes stuff, that is from FernoSec. And I dropped it on all the different platforms. Austin LeBlanc said, late to the party, but Tyler, if you're not afraid of soldiering, teeny tiny parts, the RGBD Scream Out was a fun little project for my flipper. Dude, I'll have to check it out. Post a video on Discord of it installed and semi-put back on. Yeah, for sure. I'll dig into that. That sounds fun. Oh, why is your blog rendering like that? Oh, yeah. I don't know, dude. Oh, actually, you know what? It's not you. It's Dark Reader, I think. Watch. There. Is that better? Is that what's supposed to look like FernoSec? That wasn't you. That was the Dark Reader plugin that sometimes messes up pages. Oh, there's dark mode button at the top right. All right, bet. It's not a hacker blog without dark mode, right? There we go. There. Now my eyes will stop bleeding. Thank you. So check that out. I'm going to look over at Twitch now. Let me see if there's any questions I missed here on Twitch. Doc G Money said, how was the week? Well, the week is just beginning. It is only Tuesday, but so far the week's been going well. Oh, you mean maybe since I last streamed? Maybe that's what you're talking about. It's been good. It's been good. Doc G Money, that's a really good question. So Doc G Money asked this question over on Twitch. What are some questions you wish you would have asked when you were new that you didn't know you needed to ask? You wish you asked when you were new that you didn't know you needed to ask. You know, a lot of it would be context to answer that question. One, I'll give you one question. I would ask, is the OSCP everything it's cracked up to be? Or is OffSec just a money-hungry, predatory organization that I'm going to write a future diss song about? That's the question I wish I would have asked. I mean, I guess I'm happy I have the OSCP, but guys, I freaking hate OffSec. I used to like them until I, paid for it. So if I needed to ask a question, I didn't know what I needed to ask, it would be, hey, is OffSec a money-hungry, predatory organization with a terrible mantra that you're going to write a diss song about? And the answer from future Tyler is Yes. All right, I'm scrolling. Do. We talked about keyboard stuff. Talking about box opening. Oh yeah, thank you, Yogi Bear. So exactly what I was talking about. Yogi Bear said over on Twitch, it's been really cool seeing your channel grow. I remember a year or so ago tuning into some streams that had about 5 or so viewers a night. I just joined the Discord last night. It's a great group of people. Thank you, man. And it's even better now that you're there. Doc G Money said, hands down, you went the right direction. I hate them with a passion, so much passion. I want to pass just to write a review. Yeah. Cyber Warhound said, I think for their time, since Hack the Box hadn't really come out with anything yet, they, that is OffSec, were really the only organization offering the type of training they were offering, though. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But guys, since I alluded to it, I got to show it to you. And then this is the last thing before we get into the labs. I'm going to show you my diss song, my diss rap song that I wrote. My love letter that I wrote to OffSec. And some context on this. If anyone had their hopes dashed to pieces last April Fool's, I apologize. But what I did on April Fool's is I came out with a LinkedIn post saying I was hired at OffSec as a content engineer, and I had like a discount for the Pen 200 course, and I dropped a base 64 encoded string, and if you base 64 decoded the string, it brought you to this video. All right, so if I dash your hopes to pieces about a discount for Pen 200, first you should know it's OffSec. It's not going to happen. And you should also know I'm public with my OffSec hate. I was not going to work for OffSec, but I shared that and it linked to this song. So without any further ado, before we dive into stuff, let me introduce you guys to my official rap diss song towards OffSec. I want to tell you guys a story. Let me take you back to December of 22, almost a year ago, when I passed the OSCP exam. Now, I passed it on my first attempt in 8 hours, but I was beyond frustrated. Matter of fact, I almost came to the point where I left pen testing altogether. I spent $1,500 of my own money. I did not have an employer who could pay for it. Spent $1,500 of my own money to get what amounted to a bloated PDF in a broken lab environment and a Discord and a forum filled with riddles because people didn't want to give away too much information about the educational environment.
Anyone who's done it,
I am sick and tired,
you know that
of
I'm spitting
gatekeeping
truth right here.
certifications. I am sick and tired of overpriced cybersecurity education. This song is dedicated to TCM Security. Try hack me and hack the box, making cybersecurity actually accessible to other people. Let's go. For $1,500, tell me what did I get? Upload a PDF and a desire to quit, and an org that is deaf to the students who sit to take a test or will assess if CTFs are legit. I confess that I'm impressed that somehow you benefit from having terrible support and VMs that randomly brick. But don't talk about it, cause I'll take away your shirt. Well, let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about the fact that you're trash as you grab the cash in the past on your back. Let's attack with the facts that you're actually bad. It's a glorified CTF cert, that's a fact. And I'm still here. Pass your test in one attempt and I won't disappear. I'm gonna vent for every sentence, you better listen here. It's OS 56537 with no fear. With no fear. It's OS 56537 with no fear. With no fear. It's OS 56537 with no fear. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen. We make it to DC with this one. Heck yeah, guys. So you may not be aware of this, but I am performing at DEF CON. 2 songs. That song and Black Hoodie On, my original hacking rap song. I'm performing those at DEF CON. The only problem is DEF CON doesn't know about it yet. So for anyone who has connections to DEF CON, guys, we are 4 weeks away. I want, if DEF CON doesn't give me a spot, we're doing this on the Vegas Strip. I'll bring like a freaking boombox if I have to, and we're gonna wrap this at DEF CON one way or another. The real Billable's asking the real questions. Do you still have your cert? I do still have my cert. You'll know if I lose my cert by hurting their feelings, because there will be a part 2 to that song. But they didn't take it away. I gave them my OS number and everything to make it nice and easy for them. Yeah, they don't revoke certs for memes, Laughing said. Exactly. Okay, guys, I see there are more questions. I'm going to dive into the labs. I'll maybe come back to some of these questions, but I want to dive into this. Although we have a few first-time chats. I want to answer the first-time chat from Uncle Runky08. Was pen testing your first role, or did you do sysadmin or netadmin? What were your biggest assets to landing you a pen tester role? It was not my first role, but that doesn't mean it can't be. So I think he's actually watching, if he's still here. Someone that we recently hired at Rhino, I'm not going to dox him and give all of his information away, but have been helping train him. He was able to go, and correct me if I'm wrong, dude, but I believe his role as a pen tester with me is his first ever IT or cyber job. So just know, when you hear the gatekeeper saying you can't immediately go straight into pen testing, yes, you can. It is possible. That's not my story though, but I just want to let you know, like, someone I'm working with right now got hired as a pen tester, first ever IT job is a role in pen testing. But my job in 2021 is when I started IT in general. So I've only been in IT, guys, for 3 years. So I'm still pretty much a noob to all of this. But I got my first IT job in 2021 as IT support level 1. On-site, all that stuff. Drove 30 minutes to get to work each day. Did that for a 5-month period. 5 months into my role in IT support level 1, I got a call from a local college who knew me. I used to actually work there part-time doing admission stuff, not IT, but knew I wanted to be in IT. So they called me 5 months into my first role, and they said, "Hey, Tyler, we have an opening for a manager role, IT support manager. You'd be managing the IT support department and managing all of IT support on campus. Not a massive campus, but like, I don't know, 400 employees, maybe less, and about 2,000 students. So, pretty decent size for one of my first IT jobs. And I was like, yo, does it pay better? And it was like $10,000 more time off, better benefits. I was like, yeah, bet, I'll do it. So then at my first job for 5 months, switched over to that role as IT support manager, was there for a little over a year. And while I was working there, had a friend reach out to me who worked with me at my first job, just pointing out networking is important. But in my first ever IT job, he was working as an analyst on the blue team, actually a supervisor at a large bank, located in Alaska, but the job was fully remote. He was in my area, and he's like, "Hey, Tyler, I am hiring a senior analyst and I want you to join my team." And I was like, "Dude, let's talk about pay. What is it?" And it was double what I was making at the college. I was like, "Dude, yeah, and it's fully remote. No way." So that was my first fully remote job, working from home, making double what I was making from working at the college. Was there for only about 7 months when I got an interview for my current pen testing role, and switched over to pen testing when I got this job, but actually took a pay cut. So I do just want to say, if you're interested in the money, to be real with you, Blue Team actually offers more money, from, at least from my experience. I took about... Let's see. So when I took my pen testing role, my supervisor at that company, he was actually about to move on to another company as well, and he wanted to take me with him. And the salary that they were going to offer me was like 40,000 is what they were going to offer me. And so if you do the math, I took a $50,000 pay cut in order to become a pen tester. So it took a pretty big pay cut to be a pen tester, but in my opinion, pen testing hacking stuff is more fun than defending stuff. And when I was on the blue team side of things, you have to work incidents. You sometimes have to work late into the evening. You have to do on-call stuff. As a pen tester, I don't do any of that. I work a day schedule, no weekends, no evenings, because we don't want to actually break stuff for a client. So that is my story in a short way. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, looking over at chat. Oh, we got Kaiser Clark over on YouTube. What is up, dude? Hey, I watched your stream going through Oh, I'm blanking on the name of the machine on Hack the Box, but I watched that full thing, dude. Killing it. Awesome job with that. All right. Chat is all good. We got 30, 40, 50, 60, almost 60 people now across the different platforms. So I think that means it is time. Let's dive into some labs. We have a few different things that we are going to do. And hey, if you are new to my YouTube channel, one thing to keep in mind, I'm just getting things pulled up. This is my live stream. And so I call this Hack Smarter Live, but this is also the time where I make shorter videos. So my main platform is YouTube, all right? So for those of you watching on LinkedIn or Twitch, I live stream on all those platforms, but once again, my main platform is YouTube if you want to keep up with me on all my videos that I release. What the frick is this white mode crap going on? My goodness. All right, well, we're in white mode right now. My eyes are bleeding, but if you go to Tyler Ramsey, you can subscribe to me there. You can see I have over 400 videos and all like quite in-depth technical stuff, answering questions about pen testing. So if you haven't subbed to me on YouTube, please do. Would very much appreciate it. Let me close it out though before my eyes bleed. But YouTube is my main platform, and what I do during Hack Smarter Live, we kind of hang out. Like this part right now is just for the live stream. We just hang out, chat. But I also will make videos for YouTube as we go. So what I'm about to do is going to be a little bit confusing, going to feel like you're on TV, but I'm going to do a full introduction actually as we dive into this first lab, give a full intro because this part will be the standalone YouTube video that eventually goes on my YouTube page. Hopefully that makes sense. So let me get logged in. We're going to do some poem labs and I'll explain what this is once I get logged in. I'm already logged in and beautiful. So we'll just keep it like that. All right, I'm going to get a drink of water and we'll do the YouTube introduction. We'll do some AWS hacking. Going to check my phone too real quick. Make sure all is good. Why do I have it says I have a text message. I don't see a text message. Oh, from a restaurant I was at. You guys ever ate at Texas Roadhouse? That's where me and my wife went for supper since we don't have kids with us. It was good. All right. Yeah, Laughing says Texas Roadhouse is bomb. It is, dude. It's so good. Here it's like it's always so busy, so there's always a decent wait time, but we checked in ahead. Yeah, dude, my only issue with those rolls, though, Yogi Bear, is they only bring me one freaking butter for 4 rolls. Can you at least bring me, like, I want one thing of butter per roll so I can just douse my roll in the butter. That's my complaint about Texas Roadhouse. Bring me more butter. Make Texas Roadhouse great again by bringing me, I want 1 butter per bun you give me. That is the math. That's how it should be done. But no, it was really good. Need to start to change that org petition. Absolutely. 2-to-1 ratio. Beast, dude. That's the way to do it. When are we going to see a RuneScape stream? Never. I don't play RuneScape. You'll see an Elder... I've streamed Elder Scrolls Online before. I've also streamed Battlefield and stuff, but... All right, y'all. Bring back the peanuts. Yes. Yep. All right, let's start recording for YouTube. Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to do some more AWS pen testing or AWS hacking. Now, if you're new to this field, there's like 3 of these kings in the cloud environment. You have AWS, which is, of course, Amazon Web Services. You have GCP, which is the Google Cloud Platform. And you have Microsoft Azure, which is the Microsoft Cloud offering. All of them offer similar things, but as far as market share goes, AWS is the #1 cloud provider on the back end for various companies, websites. Azure is number 2 and GCP is 3, and there's a bunch of other little cloud providers behind them. But if you want to get into cloud pen testing, cloud engineering, whatever it is, one of the best places to start is with AWS, and one of the best resources is a website called Pwn Labs. Now, I want to be clear, I do not make sponsored videos. I get reached out to by organizations saying, hey, Tyler, if we pay you money, can you make a video for us? And I tell them, well, if your product doesn't suck and I enjoy it, I'll make the video for free. So I don't do any sponsored videos. If I talk about a product, it's because I actively use it and I actively believe in them and I want to support them. So just want to be clear there. But Pwn Labs is one of these products that's honestly amazing. The way I discovered Pwn Labs, because it's been a little bit before I talked about them, I was trying to find hands-on labs for the cloud that were realistic. Before Pwn Labs, there was things that are self-hosted, which is helpful, but it is self-hosted, takes some time to spin up, and hard to teach people, because if you're teaching someone to use AWS for the first time, or AWS pen testing, self-hosted already makes it a little bit confusing, right? So I wanted something that was more like Hack the Box or Try Hack Me, where you spin up the cloud labs right there on your computer, but all of the offerings. So for example, like Hack the Box Business, you can get a cloud add-on. It's literally like $10,000, I think, somewhere in that ballpark, to do their cloud stuff. So I was hunting for something like this, and I was on LinkedIn. Someone actually tagged me saying, hey, check out these resources for learning AWS. And they shared some of my YouTube videos, and they shared this little website called pwnlabs.io. And I was like, what the heck is pwnlabs.io? So I started digging into it and really enjoy it. So think about Hack the Box, but for the cloud, and that is what Pwn Labs is, and it's super affordable. They have a bunch of free labs, but you can get an annual sub for, I think, $200 a year is what it is. Let me jump to my dashboard. For $200 a year, gives you access to all of these labs. Once again, you click and spin them up. You can see these ones right now, guys, are completely free. You can make an account right now, no sub required, and do these hands-on labs. They have labs for AWS. We have labs for GCP. We have labs for Azure, all very realistic things that you will encounter in the real world. And what's even cooler is I think the frequency is going to be twice a year, but for those premium people, we have Thunderdome. Now, I have a lot of the flags on here, so I can't click this because I don't want to show the flags, but Thunderdome is like a red team environment. It's a total of 9 flags spread across AWS, GCP, and Azure, all to simulate real world corporate infrastructure. So it's super cool. It's actually quite difficult. I have a few videos on my YouTube channel. I show how to get initial access and I think the second flag. But once again, this comes with an annual sub to Pwn Labs. You can get access to the Thunderdome. But we are in the Academy today, and we're going to go to latest labs. And one lab I wanted to show off, and it is premium, so I apologize if you do not have a sub to Pwn Labs. You won't be able to follow along on your own, but I'll do my best to give you the full experience, explain everything that is going on. But it says bypass restrictions in API Gateway. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to click Start Pwning, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on this lab. And it says it's suitable for a CTF approach. Now, I do want to be very upfront with you guys. Often when I dive into labs like this, I do it completely blind. I do not prep ahead of time. I actually did go through this lab ahead of time just for my own learning. So I went through it a while ago, and I thought, yo, this was really fun, and the way I approached it was different than what the lab guide has you do. So I thought I want to make a video and just show all of this, show an alternative way of doing it, but also do my best to slow down and explain things, because here's the reality. I know AWS is confusing. You'll see why it's confusing, some of the commands you have to do. So I'm going to do my best to slow down. I'll explain things that maybe don't make sense. And for those of you watching the live stream, if you have questions, want me to dig into something, drop a comment as I go, and I'll try to slow down and explain things. Another incredible resource to help. Let me get him pulled up because I might need to authenticate. So let me just stop sharing my screen for just a moment. Is this person right here. Hello, robot friend. One of my best friends right here is my robot friend. He can help us out with some of the AWS things as we are getting started. But let's go ahead and get our notes set up so we're ready to go. So I'm going to jump over to my notes. I do use Notion for my notes, and we are doing our cloud labs right here. So let me just pop open a new cloud lab, and this is, I think it's bypass restrictions and API Gateway. I'm just going to call it, we'll just call it the same thing. Like that, and we'll make that full screen. I also like to make it full width, and let's just begin by documenting what the heck we are doing. So let's begin with our scope/scenario, if I can type, and here we go. Scenario. As part of a red team engagement, we have gained access to several AWS code commit repositories. We'll come back to that. In one of the repositories, we found hard-coded AWS access keys and a development API endpoint. Can you use this to compromise more than the development environment and help increase our access? So let me explain a little bit about what is going on here once we drop this into our notes. So a few terms that I know are going to be unfamiliar. One is AWS code commit, right? And let me just show you how I learned these services. We could ask ChatGPT, but it is helpful to be able to read AWS documentation. I don't know why I typed AWS twice. That's, I guess it is what it is. So let's say, like, if we didn't know what AWS code commit is, let's find out. So it says securely host highly scalable private Git repositories and collaborate on code. So if you know technology a little bit, it sounds like GitHub, but in the cloud, right? So it's a secure, highly scalable, fully managed source control service that hosts private Git repositories. All right. So let's copy that and just drop it into our notes so that we have a definition of it. We'll just delete this right here. Secure, scalable, fully managed source control service that hosts private Git repositories, and we gain access to those. So if you can imagine, if you gain access to a company's private GitHub, you might be able to find some hard-coded secrets. Well, the same is true about AWS code commit. So here we are, we're on a red team, we've gained access to code commit repositories, so repos, think about GitHub repos, and we could have used a tool like TruffleHog, which is a real tool you use in the real world. If you've never used it, check it out. But we have TruffleHog here. And TruffleHog can search for secrets in a bunch of different things, but including GitHub. I'm not sure about code commit, but I'm pretty sure you can configure it to search for secrets in whatever you want. And you can run TruffleHog and see if you can find secrets. So that's what's going on there. Is there anything else we need to explain? Oh, we have an API, a development API endpoint, and we have this dev API URL, and we have some access keys and secrets. So I'll explain some of this, but for now, let's grab this and drop it into our notes. And we will say like targets. So we have that. We'll just call this our API. And now we can say credentials, set up a code block, and we'll grab our access key ID, drop that there in our secret. And now in AWS, access key IDs and secrets kind of function like a username and a password. So think about your username for your bank account. That's kind of your access key ID. Your username in and of itself isn't highly sensitive. You maybe don't want to share it with random people, but it is just your username. So if people have it, they can't use your username to access your account. It's just your username, but your secret is your password. So you don't want threat actors to get a hold of your secret, because if they have your access key and your secret, they can then authenticate to your AWS environment and begin enumerating things, looking for data, doing exfiltration, doing privilege escalation, lateral movement, all of those things. So that is what we were able to find in the environment. We have this target API we found in code commit, and we have these credentials that we found in code commit. I'll show you how to configure these things and how to enumerate. But before I go any further, let me look over at chat. Oh, Scott and I said, AWS, not my cup of tea. Sorry, dude. We'll do some THM in a little bit. All right, no questions. I'm going to assume that I am good to move on. So the first thing we need to do if we have credentials is, of course, authenticate to the AWS environment. So I'm going to pull up my terminal right here. And the way that we can authenticate is we can do AWS configure. I'll call it profile, and we'll just call it, I don't know. We'll call it Tyler, because that's who I am. All right, so it wants our access key ID. So we'll go ahead and grab our access key ID, and we will drop that in. Our secret access key, grab that. And now our region, there's different regions in AWS. So let me explain what is going on here. If we go to this and do like AWS regions, you can spin up resources in different regions, and that is where they exist. So for example, in North America, you can see that we have US West, US East, US West 2, US East 2, Canada, blah, blah, blah. So we have all of these different regions that we can spin stuff into. I'm going off memory, and if we didn't know it, we could figure out what it is. But I believe the resources we need to dig into is US West 2, but often the default is US East 1. So I don't actually remember. I'm going to do US East 1, but we may end up updating this ourselves later, but I'll at least show you that process. I'll hit enter, and then I'll hit enter. So we have successfully authenticated to GitHub. Let me go ahead and just grab that for my notes. Whoops. And if I remember, guys, when I dropped this video, I will, getting to AWS, try to include my Notion notes. I'll make these public, the ones that we're doing right now, and then you'll be able to have these notes to look through. So for those of you watching this after the fact on YouTube, if you do not see a link for these notes in the description of this video, leave a comment and tell me, and I will remember then, oh shoot, I need to drop these Notion notes there. So as I take these notes, I'll drop all of these notes for you so that you can save these notes yourself and understand a little bit about what we are doing for your own learning. So with this, the confusing thing among many things in AWS is just typical commands. So for example, in Linux, if I do who am I, I'm able to get my username of Tyler. If I do ID, I can see what groups I am on this machine. Well, of course, AWS has to make it a lot more confusing. To just do like the who am I command in AWS, here is what we need to do. We need to run AWS STS get caller identity profile Tyler, right? And then we see we have a few different pieces of information here. We have an account number. That's our AWS account number. We know that we are logged in as a user, and our user's name in AWS is staging engineering, which, knowing this came from code commit, that probably makes sense that the user is a staging engineering user. But we can go ahead and grab this for our notes, and I will drop those in there. We'll say verifying authentication. Am I in AWS? And we know that we are the user staging engineering user. All right, well, let's jump back over to this. If we look at our notes, not our notes, but our lab, we have a few things that we need to do. We have this API URL, so I guess we could just try to go to this URL and see what happens. Right? If I just, well, let me just do a curl request. That might be easier. I want to see headers, so I'll do that. Dash capital I shows you the headers, I think. And we get a 403, so it's not allowed. We're not able to hit this. All right? Method not allowed. So we're doing a get request. Maybe if we change it to a post request, method not allowed. Can I do curl x options? Okay, that works. And so if we do curl options, we can see that it allows patch and it allows option. So really not much that we have to work with, but we do know we have an AWS user, and one of the first things we want to do is enumerate our permissions. So if you can imagine, when you get access to a Linux machine, what do? Well, you should do things like who am I? ID, kind of get a lay of the land. What permissions do I have in this Linux environment? And can I utilize those permissions to find secrets to go a little bit deeper in the environment? Well, the same is true about AWS, and you can do all of this manually, but I'm going to show you guys how to automate the process with a tool called Paku. You probably see me use this on stream a few times, but let me jump over to here and I'll show you Paku real quick. If we go to Paku GitHub, apologize for the white mode. I don't know why it's like that. Hurts my eyes too. Let me turn on dark reader on. Maybe I'll do that. It messes up Pwn Labs if I use dark reader, I think. So what is Paku? Well, Paku is an open source AWS exploitation framework designed for offensive security testing against cloud environments, created and maintained by the greatest pen testing company on the earth. Paku allows pen testers to exploit configuration flaws within an AWS account, using modules to easily expand its functionality. Current modules enable a range of attacks, including user privilege escalation, backdooring of IAM users, attacking vulnerable Lambda functions, and much more. And it shows you how you can install Paku. It uses pip. The only change I would make or that I recommend is use pipx. Pipx will spawn everything in a Python virtual environment. If you've been using Python and installing random tools from the internet for any length of time, you know that when you install one Python tool's dependencies, it might break dependencies of another tool, and then your whole Python thing breaks, and the next thing you know, you're reverting to a snapshot on your virtual machine because you broke everything. It's not that I've done that like more times than I can count, but I've learned the hard way. If you use pipx, it will install all of it in a virtual environment, and you should be good to go. So it's just pipx install and then Paku. I'm not going to do it because I already have it installed, but you can follow the instructions on GitHub on how you can get Paku installed. Once we have Paku installed, we can just run it, right? Run Paku, and I'm going to type 0 for a new session. You can see down here in my different sessions, we're going to do 0 for a new session, and we will call this one, we'll just call it API Gateway, because that's the lab that we are doing. And now that we are in the session, there's a bunch of different things that we can do, but we need to import our keys. So remember, we set up keys as the Tyler user, and we can verify that with AWS STS get caller identity profile Tyler. So our keys are set up under the name Tyler, and so we want to import those keys into Paku. And the way we can do that is we can do import keys Tyler. There we go, imported keys as imported Tyler. And now we can search for what we want to do. So we know we want to enumerate our permissions. Now in AWS, user accounts and different permissions are called IAM, or Access Identity Management, IAM. And many cloud providers use IAM terminology. The same is true about AWS. So if we want to search within Paku for different modules we might be able to work with, it's really easy. We quite literally just use search, and let's say we want to do search IAM. Like, what IAM information do we have? So we can scroll up here. We have a category called enum, which sounds like a good spot to work. And we can do IAM brute force permissions, IAM decode access key ID, detect honey tokens, enum action query, enum permissions, enum user roles, policies, groups, and get credential report. What I typically do is I try to first run enum permissions, but for that to work, your AWS user does have to have certain permissions to even run that. And if that fails, I'll do brute force permissions. Takes a little bit longer, but that will brute force every single AWS API call in order to figure out what permissions we have in the AWS environment. But for this one, let's go ahead and try IAM enum permissions. Maybe we want to get more information on that. So we can do help IAM enum permissions and say, all right, what is this doing? Well, it says this module, make sure my face isn't in the way of the text. I don't think it is. This module will attempt to use IAM APIs to enumerate a confirmed list of IAM permissions for users and roles in the account. By default, the owner of the active set of keys is targeted. That's us. This is done by checking attached and inline policies for the user and the groups they are in. So we have a few options or switches: all users, username, all roles. We're just going to do default because we just want to know what permissions we have. And so we can just go ahead and do run IAM enum permissions. All right, we are done. So we had some failures on things that we were able to find or not find. But now that we've done it, we can run who am I to see a detailed list of permissions. So what permissions do we have? Which I know all of this is confusing. You know what the other thing I did not do is I did not document my command. So let me go ahead and back up a little bit. We'll go to we'll go back to like this right here. Come on, copy. And let me add some of this to our notes that we are working on. Using Paku. And let's just grab a Paku GitHub link for our notes. And also I want to just drop this into a code block down here. I'll format it in a little bit. But let's grab this for whoever is a future reader of my notes so they can easily access the tool that I'm using. And they can figure out how to install it and all that good stuff. We will drop that in there. So for enumeration, we are using Paku. And honestly, that's probably good enough just for that. And we'll say enumerating IAM permissions. There we go. So help IAM enum permissions, and it's showing me running the command right there. And then we'll say confirmed permissions. And we can jump back over to here and grab our confirmed permissions right here. Just grab this. All right, confirm permissions. There we go. So if we look at these confirm permissions, let's figure out what exactly it is doing, because I know, once again, very confusing if you're not used to AWS on what permissions we are looking at. So first we have allow permissions. So what are we allowed to do? We're able to make post requests to the API gateway, and you can see we have this ARN of the API gateway, in the US West 2 region. So if we didn't know we were working with the US West 2, well, we see that now because all of our permissions lie in US West 2, and we're able to do anything to these REST APIs in order to deploy them. So that means we can deploy APIs in the account. We can patch, so we might be able to update some API information with a patch request, and we can do that to all of the REST APIs, it looks like, based on the wildcard right there in the US West 2 region. We can get the REST APIs, which I'll show you how to automate some of that with Paku. We can update REST API policy, so we know that as well. We can get policies, we can list attached user policies. This is what allows us to do the enumeration we're doing now. If this was not enabled, we would have to brute force our permissions to figure out what we have. We'd still get close to the same stuff, but maybe not as accurate. We can get policy version, so we have a few permissions that we can do here, but let's say we don't know what's going on here. Like we're new, we're confused, we don't really understand these permissions. This is where our friend ChatGPT comes in. Explain these AWS permissions for me. Let's see if ChatGPT is accurate. All right, so API Gateway allows users to perform post requests, any deployments of API gateways in the US West 2 region. All right, here's this one patch. We can perform patch requests on any US West 2 region, both at the API level and for individual APIs. API Gateway, we can do GET requests, all API Gateway REST APIs in the US West 2 region. We've covered that. Allow it to update all individual REST ones. IAM, allow the user to retrieve IAM policies, all IAM policies. Allow the user to list policies attached to the IAM user, and allow us to retrieve versions. So once again, if you were unfamiliar with what we are looking at, AI really is helpful, and AI right here, ChatGPT, can give us that information. And I also keep noticing we are in the US West 2 region, so we might want to change our region, but we don't have to yet. But we know we are doing something with APIs, because based on the scope that we were given for this, if we scroll back up to our scope, can you use this, that is the API endpoint in our credentials, to compromise more than the dev environment? So maybe a production environment. We can maybe do some brute forcing, but let me show you once again how we can automate a lot of this with Paku. So within Paku, there are modules for working with API Gateway. So if we just search API Gateway, you can see we have an API Gateway enum. Well, let's see what that does. So do help API Gateway enum, and what information do we have? It says it enumerates the API gateway. For each API, this module enumerates available routes, methods, API keys, and client certificates. Results and Swagger definitions will be exported to the session download directory, and it accepts region. So we know that we are targeting the US West 2 region based on all the permissions that we have. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. We will do run API gateway enum region US West 2. All right, so we already have a little bit of information here. Let's go ahead and grab this for our notes. We'll drop over to this. All right, we'll say enumerating API gateway with Paku. All right. So if we look at these, we can do, here's our documentation. We can do GET requests. Notice we have dev, but we do have a prod API right here. So that right there is a finding, right? With this information, successfully found the production API from enumerating above. And that is that right there. So there's our production API, and let's just go ahead and see if we can do anything with that. So if I copy that, jump back over to here and curl. Let's just try to curl it. All right, user anonymous is not authorized to perform execute API invoke on resource blah 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 blah. Can we do like curl x post request? Will that do anything different? And now we're missing an authentication token. So we need to dig into this API a little bit more, but here's the cool thing about Paku. When we use that enumerate the API gateway module, it actually goes to the Swagger file or the API documentation and policy information and pulls it down for us and stores it in our session. The way we can get that information is we can just run data in Paku. It looks a little bit messed up here, but we'll clean it up. But let's just copy all of this. This is all, you can see the API information here and API doc. So let's copy this. And let's go over to our handy dandy friend ChatGPT and say, hello, can you please clean this up for me? And let's see if we can read it better. Beautiful. All right, while that does its thing, let's go ahead and add our notes to this. And we'll say, within Paku, to get the API documentation, jeez, I can't type, documentation and policy information, run this through ChatGPT to clean it up. And that looks a lot better. So let's go ahead and copy this. And we'll drop it in here. And let's look at this together. What information do we have here? We have our Swagger definition as an API prototype for a new service. Here's the gateway dev one on base path API. I have to sneeze. Try not to sneeze into my microphone. All right, we're good. And it gets a 405 response, blah, 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 blah. Put is a 405 response, delete, responses, options, et cetera, et cetera. We can keep kind of scrolling through here. Here's the prod. Here's what we're most interested in. Because once again, remember our scope said we have dev. Can we compromise the production area? So if we look at prod, what does it do? Well, we can do a GET request. It consumes application JSON, produces application JSON. The response is a 200 response empty. Definition, gateway policy. So here we have a gateway policy. And it says, in effect, it allows anyone, hence the wildcard, to invoke this API with a condition. So think about programming. You can invoke this API if your source IP is 172.16.5.10. Well, that is not my source IP, and I tried to spoof it with X-forwarded4, and I can tell you that does not work. And when I was doing this myself, like live on the spot when I was first going through this is where I was a little bit stuck, but what helped me was just Googling it and digging into ChatGPT. So what we can do is let me just back up a little bit. We'll copy this entire policy, and let's go back to our robot friend and say, explain this, robot friend. So, the X Amazon API Gateway policy specifies an IAM policy for an API Gateway resource. This policy controls who can invoke the API Gateway methods and under what conditions. So, kind of got that. Allow, our principal, execute API. So the resource specifies the resource the action applies to. This value is an Amazon resource name, blah, 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 blah. Our API Gateway ID, any stage. But here's the condition. It restricts it to originating from a specific IP address, which is why if I try to curl that thing, we get this. User anonymous is not authorized to perform invoke API on that resource. And we can actually grab that error message and jump over to our other good friend, which is Google. And you can see when I was doing this, there is a Stack Overflow question about the same thing. They got the same error, and they have their policy right there that they're pasting in, which told me, okay, it has something to do with the policy. This is a AWS specific error. It requires us dealing with the policy. And if we remember our permissions, right? So if we go back over to this, back over to Paku and say, who am I? We have specific permissions here that we might be able to play around with and identify how the heck are we going to exploit this. So let me go back to our notes though, and we'll update our notes, and we'll say, we'll grab this, or we'll just add bullet point. The issue is that the policy only Jeez, why can I not type? I just beat you guys all to typing race. Now I can't type. Only allows a certain IP address to invoke the API gateway. We need to modify that somehow. So considering we had various permissions, which I think I even dropped into my notes here, right? We have post permissions to send post request, patch permissions get. This is what stands out to me. We need to update our API policy, and we have this permission right here, update REST API policy. And I'm actually curious if ChatGPT would discover this. Considering the AWS permissions I sent you before, is there anything I can do to remove the IP block from that API gateway using the AWS CLI? Okay. Let me look at his instructions and I'll see if it's actually accurate. I don't even think we can run this command because I don't think we have permission to get policies that way. We do have the policy from doing it our way, but let me just see if I'm right. Profile Tyler. And it's not even a valid command. See, AI is good to a certain point, y'all, but eventually you do have to read some documentation. Here, I mean, we already have the REST API ID. This part might actually be good. So what we want to do is update it with this policy right here. So all this is doing is it's changing that policy that we saw to allow anyone to invoke the API. I think. Let's give it a shot. Worst case scenario, we break it and we restart the lab. All right, I'm going to make a directory API gateway, cd API gateway. All right. I want to update this terminal so it's Paku, just to keep my terminal straight. And we'll do vim policy.json. All right, save that. Okay. There we go. That should be a working policy. What it's saying we can do is allowing anyone to execute the API on this specific API in this account. A wildcard means we can do anything to the production endpoint, which is what we want to do. And now ChatGPT is saying we need to do AWS API Gateway, put REST API policy, REST API ID region. I don't know if his syntax is correct there. I'll see. Maybe I'm just a hater, right? I need to pass it my profile so it uses my creds. And I also didn't call it modified. I just called it policy.json. Yeah, okay. I did not think so. I did not think that was the right way to do it. Let me jump back over to my notes and look at our own permissions. We have this update REST API policy. Let's do some Googling. Update REST API policy, AWS. What was this? Update REST API. That must have been what I was looking at previously, but both should go to the same thing. So I think this is what ChatGPT is actually trying to do for us. And you know, we could be like real hackers and RTFM read the manual, but you know, YOLO. I don't know, guys, if this is going to work, but patch operations, what are you doing? Okay. Update REST API I sent you. you'll need to use patch operations to replace the existing policy with your new policy JSON. So prepare the new policy. Okay. So we're going to take it off both of them. Create a patch operations.json. Oh, is this just the old policy? Why do I need to create a new policy there? It would appear I'm already adding it here. Does that have prod there? Yep. All right, YOLO, let's see what happens. We'll call this vim update.json. And let's look at ChatGPT's command. What is he telling us to do here? What freaking wizardry. Why do you have to create this new policy? Because you're passing it right there. You're not... Yeah, I don't... This is a waste, I think. I might be wrong. I just want to get this typed out so I understand what's going on here. So we're going to call this update.json. That's the correct API ID. That's the correct region. We're going to do it with the profile Tyler and jump over to here. We got 0xD Shan over in chat. Hello, dude. Thanks for joining us. We're doing some AWS pen testing, although I think we might almost be done. Let's see if this works. Boom. Did that work? I think so. All right. Updating the policy. That should work, and I should also include like the update.json file. So we're just taking good notes as we go through this. All right, now I don't remember what it was. Is this a prod one? And we still get the error, but if we jump over to, do I still have that pulled up? Nope. Okay, let me grab this error, because I think if we read through that Stack Overflow thread, there's another step we might need to do. Let's see what all the smart AWS people are saying. You need to update the resource policy, blah, blah. Also note, blah, blah. If the API has been deployed previously in the API Gateway console, you need to redeploy it. So I think that's the issue we're running into. We have updated the policy, but for the policy to take effect, we need to redeploy the API. And if we consider our permissions that we had, I believe we had those permissions, right? If we jump back to the top when we were doing our initial enumeration, we had this right here, this post request, right? That permission right there. I just don't know the syntax. Okay, so we'll say, how can I use these permissions to redeploy that API now? Well, okay. Okay, let me take a look at what he's telling us to do real quick. I think our stage name, if I remember, it was API before. So AWS API Gateway, create deployment, our REST API ID, which does match our REST API ID up there, region US West 2. Description can be anything like, please subscribe. And let's give it a shot. Let's see if that works. Oh, you know what I need to do? I also need to pass it my profile, Tyler. Did it work? All right, we'll say redeploy the API rather. And now, can we send a curl request? Moment of truth. We cannot send a curl request. Frick. I must have done something wrong. Let's see if we can figure it out. Together, the beauty of troubleshooting. I thought... Oh, shoot, no, it's working. It just took a minute to reset it, okay. Or maybe I had to redo it again because I did it twice now, but that time it seemed to work. I don't know if I did something wrong or maybe I was too eager. Maybe it takes like a minute for the API gateway to redeploy. That's my guess, but we were able to get the flag. Let me go ahead and grab that for our notes. And we'll do this. Success, but future people, you can do this. There we go. And we have the final flag. Now also, just want to be clear, guys. I did this lab once already myself. Usually, like 99% of the time when I do labs or machines, I'm doing it for the very first time, sharing with you my learning, my frustrations, my headaches. But do want to be clear, I went through this lab a while ago, but before now, and thought, hey, this would be a cool lab to teach and to do on stream to show some of the basics of this AWS enumeration. So if you were a little bit lost as you were going through this, this is not my first time doing the lab, so I knew the general attack path in the back of my head, but I didn't know all the syntax. I didn't entirely know how to get there. I couldn't remember all those details. So I'm showing you this is how I use ChatGPT in the real world as well, especially with AWS pen testing. I suck at remembering all the little pieces of syntax, and so I tried to like piece together from AWS documentation with ChatGPT to figure out what is going on, but that solves the lab for us. But what I love about Pwn Labs, if you've never used Pwn Labs, what's cool about it is you can use it even if you're brand new to AWS, because for every lab that you work through, there's a very detailed explanation and walkthrough as we go through this. So if you were brand new and didn't know where to pick up on, let's go through a little bit of this walkthrough because they actually do it way differently than I do it. Because I use Paku and they do it manually. My way was easier in my opinion, but here's a real world context. You want to read through all of this. An API gateway is a key part of modern software stacks. Acting like a middleman between users and the backend systems, it serves as a single entry point to handle and protect access to various APIs. Being able to assess API security by exploiting vulns, misconfigurations, and exposures, and learning how to prevent making these mistakes are very important skills for pen testers, software engineers, and DevOps professionals alike. And one cool thing, guys, is I actually have my own lab coming out. Don't know why that's all caps. So CloudGoat is Rhino, where I work, our vulnerable by design AWS deployment tool. It spins up CTF, AWS CTF type things. I have a lab for this that's completely done, ready to go, done with all QA, but it's going to come out alongside a blog where I give a detailed walkthrough in the blog on the Rhino blog that will hopefully be coming out next month. But if you want to try it, you can actually do this yourself because it's open source and the pull request is here. So you can just switch over to the pull request, but it's this scenario right here, SNS secrets. I won't ruin the full walkthrough for you, but know that this is ready. If you want to get more experience with API Gateway and SNS and Paku, this module or this CloudGoat scenario is what I created for that purpose. But let's jump back over to this. Amazon API Gateway is a comprehensive service from AWS that allows the creation, deployment, and management of APIs at scale. It provides functionalities like transforming requests and responses, managing access through authorization, controlling request rates, and integrating seamlessly with AWS services. I've been doing a lot of talking. Let's look at this walkthrough. So they did the same thing I kind of did with the dev one. They saw method not allowed. They tried a post request, still not allowed. They did an options request, and they have patch. I didn't even try patch, though. But when they tried patch, they got this error. The dev environment is currently unavailable due to unexpected maintenance. All right. So it looks like they guessed the prod environment. As a good guess, we can try to access the prod. You don't have to guess it. So you can imagine maybe it was API / something that you wouldn't be able to guess. Well, with Paku, what I showed, it would have still found it because Paku enumerated all the API gateways. And yep, we got the same forbidden error. They found this article. Let's check out what the heck this is. Avoid accidental exposure of authenticated Amazon API resources. Oh, this is showing how you properly configure your AWS policy so users can't access it. And in this environment, they tried to stop us with the IP, but they also gave us permissions, right, to modify the policy ourselves. They configured it. They did this get rest APIs. Is able to get a list. We see a resource policy. They beautify it. And they saw the same thing we saw, the source IP. They want to see if they have permissions to do this. Like a lot of this stuff, guys, once again, Paku automated it for us. So you can do it manually, but hey, Paku makes it quicker, helps us understand a little more about what's going on. At least it helps it understand me. Because like even once they got this, they had to check it out this way. They had to get the policy. They had to get the version, right? Paku did all of that for us. They found the update REST API. They modify the resource by allowing conditional access. They did it with the update. So we did all this stuff the same, literally almost identical with the way we did that. And yep, we couldn't hit it. You have to redeploy it. We saw it not in the documentation, but we saw it in Stack Overflow that we had to redeploy it. You redeploy the API, you do it, and you get the flag. So what's the defense? There are many permissions in AWS that can potentially allow us to increase our access. Sometimes the permissions we start with can be leveraged to change a resource and or IAM policies that may grant us new permissions or remove restrictions. We should not only assume breach, but assume that a threat actor with a foothold in AWS may be able to increase their access at the application, service, or account level. Defenders can enable CloudTrail logging. Let's do a little bit of research into that, to identify potentially malicious API gateway activity. CloudWatch alarms can be created to alert defenders on behavior that's suspicious or that deviates from normal patterns of behavior. Actually, they link the API information here. So CloudWatch is sort of like, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it, but it monitors your AWS environment, right? For the way it would have caught us in a few different ways. When we first got access, let me actually look at my notes, and I can even point out the different spots that if CloudTrail is properly configured, you can actually have it set up to alert, so you can send this into a SIM or to your SOC team. But it would have possibly caught us even running this command on this staging engineering role or user. Maybe this user isn't one that usually accesses things from the CLI. Maybe it's usually using automation. So CloudTrail log could be configured that when this is triggered, hey, send an alert here, and they could have stopped us there, or at least detected us. The enum IAM permissions, it definitely would have caught this, because remember, it says that this will attempt to use IAM APIs to enumerate a confirmed list of IAM permissions. So we're doing some pretty obvious enumeration. There's even a lab, I actually think there's a lab on Pwn Labs that I did where we put on the blue team hat and we actually use CloudTrail to investigate an incident. And things like these IAM APIs are very obvious signs that a threat actor might be in your environment. CloudTrail would have picked up on that, and you could have had alerting set up in that way. Same with this, it would have caught us enumerating the API gateway. That would have been out of the ordinary. It definitely would have detected this, of us updating the policy, right? There should be a change control board in order to prevent this from happening. Like, you shouldn't just be able to make changes to a policy in production in a larger organization unless it's gone through the change control process and the change control board, and people are on board with this and know that it's happening. When someone updates your policy without any of that prior approval, that should also be an alarm like, oh, something might be going on in my AWS environment that is malicious. I need to lean in and pay attention. So those are a few different areas. If CloudTrail was set up properly in a customer's environment, they would have stopped us in our tracks, or at least been alerted to it and had an idea of what was going on with the attack. But that is the end of that lab, and just gave you a taste of Pwn Labs. I have a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel where I work through various labs by Pwn Labs. So if you enjoyed it, you can check those out there. Would encourage you to create your own Pwn Labs account. Real quickly, before we end the video, I will show you some of the many free labs that are on here. So we can see all of this, right? Free, 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 free. We have some premiums, free, free, free. Load more labs, load more labs. We got a lot of premiums now. But, oh, there's a bunch of free labs right there. As I think there's over 40 completely free labs on Pwn Labs that you can do right now. Create a Pwn Labs account, no sub, no credit card, and you can go through these labs and learn some of this cloud pen testing. Free AWS, Azure, and GCP labs. But hey, for all of you who went through this video with me, thank you for hanging out. Hope you learned something about AWS pen testing, something about API gateways, something about CloudTrail, something about Paku, something about the command line, something about how to use ChatGPT. I don't know. Hopefully you learned something through this process and of me sharing my methodology. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. All right, now I'm just live with you guys. That's a lot of talking. For like an hour and a half. Malware cube. Up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow. Yes. The K Bandwidth said, first time I'm watching someone solve a lab, it gives me confidence to see that experienced people approach labs the way I do. ChatGPT is my squire when I'm doing something. All the time, dude. I'm always using ChatGPT. Tatia said, how to open use to run parrot security. I'm sorry, I don't know what your question is asking. If you can rephrase it, I might understand. How to open use to run parrot security. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is, what you're asking. I'm using Parrot. So I sometimes jump back and forth between Kali and Parrot. But I've been on a Parrot OS kick lately. I've enjoyed Parrot OS. I like the way it looks, and anything I can do that is not using an OffSec product, it makes me feel better about myself. So I've been using Parrot and configured some tools, but really once I got my things configured, haven't had any issues. You know what I want to do as well? For those of you watching this, I'll give you all these notes. So my notes on this entire lab, I'll drop it to all of you right now. And the live stream is kind of an early access. Let me publish. So just these notes, right? Bypass restrictions. View site. All right, I think it looks a little bit off because of Dark Reader. Let me turn that off. All right, there it looks a little better. Although, why do I not have dark mode put on? Maybe you can't do it here, but here is my notes on this entire lab, and I will, for all of you who join me for the live stream, I'll give you these, and when I release a video, I'll drop them there as well. But let me drop it here, drop it here, and drop it here. So now, all the commands that I ran, you have access to, and you can do your own enumeration or add this to your notes so you know some of the basics of AWS API Gateway pen testing. Do you share that OneNote notebook that you have, or is that too personal? I don't use the OneNote notebook anymore. I just use Notion, but I used to share that OneNote notebook out, but one of the members of the Discord actually put all of it on GitHub, so I can share that as well. Let me get it pulled up. I'm trying to think of what he calls it. Oh man, I'm blanking on what it's called. Oh, I found it. Okay, beautiful. Let me share my screen. So here's a member of the HackSmarter Discord. He took my OneNote where I had all my notes on it and even added his own notes and put them all on GitHub so it's easier for people to access. So you can see it right here. Here's his GitHub. If we go over, we have it all here. So he has this hacker roadmap, which is cool, that he gives you some ideas like how do you get to become a hacker. He has a roadmap here, things you can check off, which is awesome. And I think one of them, so actually my video I came out with on how to become an ethical hacker, he put it all here in a checklist so you can work through things as you go. So really an awesome repo. I'll share this with you guys. But a lot of my notes that you saw me use in my older videos on OneNote, you can find those here. Oh, he put in Obsidian setup so you can download them and use them. But let me drop this link in chat in all the platforms. All right, we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes, y'all. Isn't that crazy? I'm kind of sick of talking, so I was going to go back into the Try Hack Me advanced client-side attacks, but I don't feel like continuing to read a bunch of stuff, so I'm thinking, let's just pick a random machine on Hack the Box that I haven't done and just dive into it blind, and you guys can get a full snapshot of my methodology when I approach a CTF, like from a black box perspective. I think that would be a lot of fun. So let me share my face while I switch over to Hack the Box. And I'm going to jump on the VPN and then we'll find a machine real quick. And I'll go back to sharing my screen in just a moment, just exiting out some of the Pwn Lab stuff. My VPN is not working. Let me download a new VPN real quick. All right, there we go. All right. Let's see what we have going on. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to Hack the Box, I cannot do active machines, so I'm not allowed to do any of the active machines. I'm only allowed to do retired machines when we live stream. And, I was looking for Bank. Oh, I did this alongside another streamer. Who was that? Geez, I'm trying to think of his name. I would shout him out, but I'm blanking on his name. But I think it was like Monday or Sunday night. I didn't feel like streaming, so I was just hanging out on Twitch, and one of the streamers went through this Bank machine on Hack the Box, which is a lot of fun, and I did it alongside of them. I was just in chat, but that's why Bank is pulled up there. That was fun to not be the person talking, but being the person in the audience working through some of the stuff. Oh, guys, there's a free one. Should we do this one because it's free? That means even if you don't have a sub, you're able to participate. That's always good. Then we can all do this together. Even if you don't have a sub to Try Hack Me, or not Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, rather. I'm going to spawn machine. So if you want to join in, it's the machine perfection. We have the IP. But before we dive into this, guys, let's take a 5-minute break. I want to stand up. I've been sitting here and talking for almost 2 hours now. Stand up, move around, and then we'll dive back into the hacking. I'll grab some music and throw it. First, guys, who has listened to Eminem's new album? Anyone an Eminem fan? I pre-ordered it, and when it came out, was that Saturday night? I I think it was this weekend sometime. I was up 11 o'clock my time. It came out. I downloaded the album, threw on my headphones, didn't look at my computer, listened to the whole thing from beginning to end without a break. It was a good experience. I won't play him though, because then Twitch will get mad at me and say you're using copyrighted material. Because Twitch doesn't freaking like fun. I'll just throw on a random playlist. All right, guys. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll dive back into the hacking. BRB.
Take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. Tomorrow feels a year away, like the seconds, the beginning and the end. But if in time it's yesterday, your picture's gonna bring it home to me again. The world is waiting up, the world is waiting half a step beyond our door. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights.
It's another day, eyes on my display. You say we need a change, and I feel that you mean it. You mean it.
Ladies and gentlemen, hey, welcome back to the stream. Good to have you here. If you're just tuning in, we just finished doing some AWS pen testing. We took a 5-minute break. We're going to switch gears, dive into a machine on Hack the Box completely blind. But let me check out chat. If you want to join, once again, we're doing a completely free machine on Hack the Box called Perfection. And we have 2 players. Hopefully they don't break the machine for us. But called Perfection, you don't even need a sub to do it. It is a retired machine, so I'm allowed to stream it, but it's free, so you can do it with me. Definitely not Chad said, man, I found out a third-party website that I use uses an exposed API, meaning no auth required. So I decided to make a mobile app out of the said API. Cool, dude, let me know how it goes. How are you making the mobile app? And are you doing Android or iOS or both? And it might be worth reaching out to that org to make sure they're cool with it, but it might just be a generic API they use. I don't know. I don't know the context, but sounds like a good project. All right, let me start recording for YouTube. For those of you new, as I do Hack Smarter Live, I make standalone videos for YouTube as we go. So I'm going to start recording for YouTube, but we'll work through this together. Let me get my YouTube voice on, get a drink of water. Here we go. All right. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to dive into a random machine on Hack the Box. This one is called Perfection. Now, the reason we are doing Perfection is a few reasons. Number one, it's a retired machine. On Hack the Box, I'm only allowed to stream retired machines, not active ones. And I noticed this one is free. So at the time of this stream, I don't know if this will change when the video releases, but at the time of this stream, this machine is completely free. So you don't even need a sub to Hack the Box to do it alongside of me. Now, if you are watching this video, even if you're brand new to ethical hacking, you just stumbled across this video, I want to really encourage you to do this machine right alongside of me. You learn a lot by watching videos, watching people like OffSec, learning about methodology, but you learn even more if you sit down, hands on keyboard, boot up Kali, boot up Parrot, whatever you want to use, and hack right alongside of us. Now, what's probably a little bit different from me than other people like the OffSecs of the world, who, by the way, I love OffSec, so this isn't a knock on him in any way, shape, or form. Love his content, have learned a lot from him. But most of the content creators you stumble across on YouTube, when they showcase a machine from Hack the Box or Try Hack Me or Palm Labs or Cyber, you name your platform, they've already done it. They went through it ahead of time. They have all of the steps pulled up on the side screen, and they are just like doing a machine that took them 4 hours of stumbling in 15 minutes. I go through it completely blind, share my methodology, share my stumbling, and we learn through it together. And look, we just got a raid from the one and only Tiberius, raiding with a party of 20. Amazing. Yo, Tiberius, thank you for stopping by, my friend. Thank you for the raid. And you guys are actually joining at a good time. We just finished doing some AWS pen testing labs, took a 5-minute break, switching gears over to Hack the Box. So I'd love for all of you in the raid party to join us on this machine. I'm going to drop a link to this machine on all of the live streams. Let me drop it here. Let me drop it here. And for those of you in the raid, I'm assuming you prefer Twitch, which Twitch is awesome, but I do want to let you know I am live on 3 different platforms. So you can join on YouTube, Twitch, or even LinkedIn. Believe it or not, LinkedIn has a live streaming platform, but over on YouTube and LinkedIn, it's just Tyler Ramsby. On Twitch, it's hack_smarter. And forgive me for a little bit of shameless self-promotion for those of you who joined the raid, but if you end up liking this content, my main platform is YouTube, not Twitch. I just use Twitch for my live streaming, but all of my standalone videos, shorter videos, are all on YouTube. So YouTube, I have over 400 videos here, and if you just look at the videos, they're very in-depth technical stuff, going through pen testing, which is what I do for my day job, and just sharing a little bit of my story, but a lot of walkthroughs and stuff like that. So if you enjoy the content, I can ask you a little shameless self-promotion, subscribe to me on YouTube, really would appreciate it. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and start a scan as well as get our notes set up. So I'll open up my terminal, and I like to use Rust Scan, which I actually don't know if I've installed on this machine. Oh, sweet, I do. Beautiful. You can use Nmap, use whatever you want, but with Rust scan, it's -A. We'll pass it the target, and then if we do this, it will find all the open ports here and pass it over to Nmap, and then on Nmap, it's going to run a -A flag to run all the enumeration scripts at it. So let's go ahead and get our scan running, and while our scan is running, let's go ahead and set up our notes for this. Here is the one we just did in Polnaz. Let's go over to my on-prem machine right here, and we will start a new page, and we will call it perfection. Whoops, hack the box if I could type, and we will do full width, and we'll also make it full screen. So we'll do this, and we'll do our Nmap scan. We will drop the results of our Nmap scan here once everything is done, and it looks like it is already done. So a pretty basic machine, no crazy ports that are open. We have 2 ports that are open, port 22 and port 80. So it's going to grab this, jump over to here, drop it into our notes. I like to separate it out. And the other part about what I do when I approach a CTF or even a real world pen testing machine is I like to keep myself organized. It takes a little bit of time, but you will thank yourself later on. And I like to make separate little sub pages here in Notion for each thing that I am enumerating. So if we want to do port 20, I think in Notion I can actually do page like that. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So I can, nope. Do SSH 22. Like so. We'll do full width, and there we go. We have SSH there, and let's go back over to perfection. It should show it right there as a sub tab, and now we want to do the same thing for port 80, aka HTTP, and we'll do page HTTP 80. Drop it into a code block, and then as we enumerate each one of those services, we'll keep our notes limited to that page just so we don't get ourselves confused. Now, this is a little bit different now because I know we've had at least one open SSH pretty severe CVE, but generally speaking, SSH is not the way into a machine. I mean, you can do some basic username enumeration. Maybe if you have a user list, you can do some basic password brute forcing, but it's really slow. So every once in a while, it might be the way in, but generally speaking, it's not the way in. If we see a web server here like we have here, this is where we might want to dig into things. So just looking at this, we see that we have a weighted grade calculator, and it accepts GET requests and head requests. Now, what I like to do, and this is especially important for those of you who are getting ready for the OSCP, before I start enumerating and digging in, I like to make a checklist. And the reason for that is if you have a checklist before you start, it helps keep you on task. For those of you studying for the OSCP, from when I did the OSCP, my studying and when I passed the exam, I know that rabbit holes are a big thing. And like the whole thing is it's a mind game. Like the OSCP, from my opinion, really isn't that hard in and of itself, but it's a 24-hour mind game and keeping yourself on task as you work through the machines. And one of the worst things you can do is fall into a rabbit hole and get lost and get stuck. And when you're in a rabbit hole, you start to not think right, you forget what you're supposed to do. So that's why I always suggest making a checklist before you start hacking a machine or going into a machine. So let's go ahead and make a checklist of some of the things that we want to check. So we can do like directory brute forcing. We'll want to do that as something to check. vhost brute forcing, another thing that we will want to check. We can view the source code. We can check robots.txt, and we can just use the website. So a few things that we can get started right away. You could even run like something like nuclei against it. I do that in real web app pen tests all the time. Probably an overkill for a CTF, but hey, we'll see if we want to do something like that. Well, let's go ahead before we start using the website, just kick off some of these scans. So I'm going to open up a few tabs, right? Open a few tabs. We'll call this one Dirbuster, and we'll do Dirbuster. I don't remember the syntax for Dirbuster. All right, so we can do Dirbuster. Bleh. You know what we also need to do that I forgot? If we jump back over to Hack the Box, let's grab this IP and let's save it to our Etsy host file so we don't have to remember the IP every single time. So do sudo vim Etsy host, type in my password, and go down here, input IP, and we'll just call it perfection.hackthebox, right? Save that, ping. All right, and I can ping, I can ping perfection now. So now we can do Dirbuster. What was the syntax again? Dirbuster -u perfection.hackthebox. We could specify a word list, so we'll do that. User share word list dirbuster directory list 2.3 medium is a word list I like to use. Oh wait, I'm using dirbuster. What am I doing? I don't want to use dirbuster. So you guys, I show my full mistakes in real time. I want to use dirsearch, not dirbuster. Dirsearch is what I like to use. All the durs are too close. It's hard to remember. So let's try that rather. Dirsearch perfection.hackthebox w user share word list dirbuster directory list 2.3 medium. That looks a little more normal. And there we go. We'll start doing that. We also want to look for vhost or virtual host. That's where different web servers essentially can share the same IP, and we might be able to discover an interesting vhost to dig into. I have a locate vhost scanner. Maybe. I thought I did. Let's see. In my tools, what do we have here? Do I not have my own vhost scanner tool? Well, since I don't, let me go ahead and get that. Wait, I don't want to open a new one. We already have Firefox open. I always forget the syntax, guys, for enumerating vhost, so I wrote a little script so I would, not forget as many times. You can get it on my GitHub, which is Tenebrae93. My offensive security scripts here, just a bunch of standalone scripts that I use on random CTFs and things that I've thrown together. But the script that I want is this vhost fuzzer, so I'm just going to go raw. Geez, that makes my eyes bleed. And we'll do vim vhost scanner.sh. There's that. Okay, we'll make that executional. And now if we do this, whoops, it says how to use it. So what we need to pass it is our domain right there. So we'll do perfection.hackthebox, our word list, user share word list. I'll just use the same one. Although technically there's better word lists for DNS discovery and seclist, but this will be fine for a CTF. Perfection.hackthebox. FS filter, we don't know what that is yet, so I always just do one, and then I'll adjust it based on that. So you can see non-existent vhost is 3842. So let's just rerun it, but set our FS filter to 3842. And we will let that do its thing. If we jump back over to our to-do list, we have directory brute forcing, vhost brute forcing, and now we can open up the website and begin checking things out. Now, there's a bunch of different tools you can use. You can use OWASP Zap. You can use Burp Suite. When I stream, I like to use a tool called Cato, and the only reason for that, I use Burp Suite Pro in my day-to-day job, but Cato doesn't rate limit you on some of the intruder attacks, and I feel like it's more affordable for people who are just getting started. So use whatever tool is preferable to you. They essentially all do the same thing. Cato doesn't nearly have as many features as Burp, and so like for real pen testing, like I said before, I use Burp, but on CTFs, I try to showcase Cato. Also really like the devs over at Cato. They've been really responsive when I give them feedback on things. So I'm going to open up Cato here. If you want to try out Cato, you can get it from cato.io. You can see our lightweight web security auditing toolkit written from the ground up in Rust. So that's Cato. You can follow the instructions there on how to install it. If you want to see a good overview of this, some person you may have heard of before called John Hammond. John Hammond came out with a whole video overview of Cato that I thought was really well done. But we'll call this perfection for a Hack the Box machine. I'll go ahead and do create. I want to go over to intercept. I like to use the browser built into it because I always forget to turn off Foxy Proxy, and then I wonder why my browser's broken, only to realize it's user error like it usually is for me. And now with this open, let's go ahead and just go to the website. Perfection.hackthebox. We can check robots.txt right away. And yeah, doesn't do much for us. And that's not what I wanted to do. Come on. Okay, so on perfection.hackthebox, we have a weighted grade calculator, a tool to calculate the total grade in a class based on category scores and percentage weights. Why we made this? Well, here at Secure Student Tools, we know that calculating grades based on complicated weighting can be a bit of a pain. So, we sat down and thought, instead of letting students suffer through the headache of calculating weighted grades, why not make a little tool to make life a little easier for those hardworking students? You're welcome. So how to use. Just enter the names of your desired categories, the weight or impact on your grade, and your score for each of them. It'll return your total or desired grade in less than a second. It is quick and easy. So a few things that stand out to me right away is we have some service information here. Let me open up Flameshot. So I like to use to take screenshots, and we'll grab a screenshot of this right here and highlight that service information just like so. Control C. And drop that over in our notes. All right. I really wish Notion would like automatically put my images left align. I don't know why it automatically centers align it, but we want to check out WeBrick 1.7.0. Don't know what that is, but hey, maybe there's going to be some interesting vulnerability in that. All right. WeBrick or WebBrick something, web server toolkit application that use WebBrick like Metas. Oh, a directory traversal vuln. Was this a Linux machine or Windows? It is Linux. Okay. See, this may not be vulnerable to this, but oh, I think I messed that up. Let's try this. Nothing. Okay, and I don't even know if that version is vulnerable anyways. That may just be a rabbit hole. Oh, it is Ruby 1.3.1 WebBrick HTTP, and we are on what? 1.7. So 1.3.1 would not apply. I mean, that's the same version on a PG practice machine, so maybe that is something that might be worth looking into. I'll come back to that if I need to. Okay, WebBrick 1.3.1, blah, blah, writes data to a log file without sanitizing non-printable characters. So that's 1.8.6 through 1.8.7. 1.8.6. I get all these versions confused, guys. I can't keep them straight. We're on 1.7.0. So that's older than those, but I think it only affects those versions. Okay. I don't think it's WebBrick. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's continue to explore. I do want to check out the calculator, obviously. We got Tina Smith, so technically some username enumeration. So sometimes if we found a login form, we might be able to use like T Smith or something as a username, doing some basic username enumeration. We see her name is Tina. We can see if there's directory listing on here, which it doesn't look like there is. So that'd be something worth reporting and calculate our weighted grade. While we do that, let me jump back over to our terminal. Is there anything interesting here? So no. Dirbuster only found the about page. vhost haven't found anything. I'm just going to stop that. It must not be vhost. Maybe I'll come and regret me stopping that, but I don't think it is. Jump this over here. Jump this over here. And I actually don't think I made a folder for this. Perfection. All right, jump back over to this. So a weighted grade calculator. A tool to calculate the total grade in a class based on category scores and percentage weights. Please enter a maximum of 5 category names. You grade them out of 100 and their weight. Enter NA into the category field and 0 into the grade and weight fields if you are not using a row. Let's just use it normal, all right? So hacking, well, obviously I got a score of 1337 in ethical hacking, and that is what matters the most. Weight 100%. What if I do submit? Oh, must be less than or equal to 100. Well, okay then. I got 100 in it, but I really got score 1337 in it. I'll have to fill them all out. Oh, that's not going to work. Was I supposed to do something? Oh, please re-enter. Waste you not add to 100. You shut your dirty freaking mouth. How about that, huh? I have to do math? Okay, fine. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, right? Oh, wait. Weights do not add up. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, I'll just do the same thing here. 10, 10, 10, 20. All right. I'm going to capture this request with Kato so I don't have to repeat that stupid freaking crap. Okay, we're going to send that over to replay, and we'll forward it. Okay. My total grade is 32%. Congratulations, guys. We failed. We all suck. Can I replay this request now and play around with it without having to redo that? Okay, I can. So, can I do something basic like HTML injection in the categories? Oh my goodness, malicious input blocked. So, question is, what is it erroring out on? Is it erroring out on that? Okay, so it doesn't like that. What if I like encode it? So I want to encode just this, just that. Okay, I really want to encode that. Can you stop doing that? Thank you. Malicious input blocked, eh? All right. We're going to break out the big guns here. We're going to send this over to Automate, which is sort of like Kato's version of Intruder. We're going to mark this as our payload. And then we are going to go over to Firefox. We're going to do injection bypass payloads GitHub. Oh, I really don't want SQL injection. I meant like command injection might be okay. XXS injection be another thing. That's not going to help us. It's going to detect all that. Isn't there like a... Okay, so we have different intruders. We could check out Jadix. Does he encode stuff? No. He does some encoding, but that would get caught. Is there any good bypasses here? This one might be worth trying. Let's just download all of them. Freaking. All right, I'll do them one by one. I'll show you guys where Cato really shines compared to Burp Suite Community Edition. I'm gonna go over to Simple List. I'm gonna paste these in. I'm gonna go to Settings. We're gonna do number of workers 30 because if we break the box, oh well. I don't know if I want to URL encode them. Well, yeah, we'll just let it URL encode. And let's go ahead and just run. I think they all failed. Malicious input blocked. All right. Oh, no, but I didn't want to do that. Cancel. Run. All right. Malicious input blocked. I mean, there's a few things this could be. We have this home. It's not interacting with the database, I don't think. It's just doing some mathematical operations and outputting the stuff to the screen. So because we have the reflection on the screen, I'm thinking cross-site scripting, but that, I guess that wouldn't really make sense, would it? We have no user interaction from what I can see. So if we were doing a real web app pen test, cross-site scripting would make sense because you could still report it as reflected or stored cross-site scripting. But because this is a CTF, and from what I can see, we do not have a headless browser going out and like trying to click or look at grades, so we can't steal session tokens. There's not even a login page from what I can see. Although cross-site scripting might be possible because of the input being reflected back on the page. Because it's a CTF, because of how it's set up, I don't think that's going to be the way in. Instead, I'm thinking of something like server-side template injection, but I need to figure out how to bypass the restrictions that are in place. So let's try to do STI hack tricks. And maybe I'm just way off as well. That's always a possibility. Usually for this, it's just something simple like curly Q, 7 times 7, curly Q. But I need to figure out how to bypass the detection that is here. And I don't know what it's looking for. I guess we could slowly like enumerate what it's going to fail. So like, for example, it's not going to fail on a 7, right? Like that will probably work, I think. Okay. So it does a 7. Does it do a times? No, it doesn't do a times. Yeah, Red Day said, have I tried enumerating more directories? It's actually what we're doing in the background here. It's still running on perfection.hackthebox. I think it's going to be this. It's some command injection thing on this. Malicious input blocked. Like, you know, I'm curious how it's doing the calculation. If it's passing it to like a Python thing. If I do like who am I? Right, URL encode that. Should even the percentage signs are getting found out. Like, I don't know how to bypass this. Ojik said, I think I just use a URL encoded bash reverse shell and set up a listener to catch it. Just right here? How would that make sense? You can't, there's no way to execute commands, I don't think. Because from what I can tell, even the percentage signs get found out. Maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. Maybe it's the weights for some reason. What about on the weights? What if I URL encode this on the weights? Maybe it's processing these weights, this like in a weird like Python calculator that maybe allows me to do something. No. So it's not the grade. Oh, maybe it's the weight though. I didn't test the weight. So first, can I change the weight to something that's not a number? Okay, so it just says weights don't add up. Weights do not add up. Is it executing command somehow when I do that? No, it's not. Is it mad about characters it doesn't like there? No, okay, so on the weight category, it's not saying, yo, you use a character that's not allowed, but it's also not adding up. So what if I do like 50 and who am I like that, but URL encoded the and. Oh, malicious input block. You shut your freaking dirty mouth. That's not malicious. You're malicious. That's not malicious either. You're malicious. Okay. Trying to think. If we go back to my notes, I have some command injection notes. Detecting command injection. So the problem is with these, if any of these are URL encoded, it's going to say malicious input detected. Know what I mean? If I don't URL encode it though. Malicious input detected. Right. I already tried a background. I already tried a pipe. I tried ORs. How about a subshell? Will that freak out? Yep. And surely this would also freak out. I tried bypassing some filters, but like this itself gets detected. I can't do this because that gets detected. There's no commands that are blacklisted in node themselves, and that's all I have for my notes there. Well, shoot. What am I missing? I'm setting a post request to weighted grade calculator. Doc G Money said, my OSCP training tells me to just tell you to try harder. I'm sure it's probably something simple. I still think it's server-side template injection because of how it's being reflected. I just have no idea how to do that with like every special character is blocked. I'm just looking at it. I'm trying to think, what obvious thing am I missing right now? What about this? Enter NA into the category field and 0 into the grade. I didn't do this. I mean, I don't know why the frick that would matter. But that means that the slash key is not malicious. Wait fields. All right. So then I have to change one of these to 60 if I know how to do math. Something simple like a negative number. Malicious input blocked if you do a negative number. Are characters blocked in every field? It seems to be, yeah. They seem to be blocked in every field from what I can see. At least the ones that are reflected. I tried to escape into these other fields, but it's like no matter what I do, they all get blocked. Let me double check again. So, for example, in grade here, let's just do like that. And malicious input blocked. Wait. Malicious input block. So it seems to be applying it consistently across the fields. Let me spend a little more time reading about web brick. It's not in any of these versions. Hey Tyler, what are you hacking today? We're working on the perfection machine on Hack the Box, but as most things on Hack the Box, easy means not easy at all. Even look at this. What do you mean, guys, easy? How do you rate this easy? The frick am I missing? Gosh, it drives me crazy, guys. It drives me so crazy. It's something simple. Yeah, it's a Ruby, I guess. How about percentage signs? Reckless Skills said, I'm not the only one to struggle with easy machines. Yeah, dude. You're not. Only difference is you don't have to struggle with them on stream. Invalid query parameters. You shut your freaking mouth. You're an invalid query parameter. Your mom's an invalid query parameter. Yeah, that'll teach him. This is stupid. Frick. Everything is blocked, guys. Guys, I give up. Kind of. What's guided mode say? Oh my goodness. Don't tell me it's an OpenSSH vulnerability. You have to... Is it the new OpenSSH vulnerability? You have to be freaking joking me. No way. No way is that what it is. Oh, dude, thank you for the super chat, the real Bill. Dude, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You're amazing. I appreciate the support. No, it's not an older box for an OffSec. I believe this is a really new box, and that's why it's free as well. It might be free because they want to show off the OpenSSH vulnerability, legit. Where's my notes? Oh, the new vuln takes 5 to 6 hours to exploit. Okay, gotcha. Okay, good to know. Maybe it's not then. Maybe that's not what it is then. Well, not maybe. That isn't what it is. If it takes that long to exploit. You're talking about this one? Let's see what other POCs there are. How long does it take? Well, no, this would be patched, I think. All right, you know what? Doc G Money said, is this what people mean by enumerate better? Like you just get stuck and are looking for something, anything? Yeah. You know, not that bad when you're just doing a hack the box machine, but if you get to this point on the OSCP, then it feels terrible. Which has actually happened to me, guys. I shared this in my OSCP video. When I started the OSCP, I was stuck for 5 hours with nothing. I didn't do their bonus points because I hate their lab environment. So I knew I could not pass the OSCP without the Active Directory component, and I was stuck on initial entry for AD because it was a freaking stupid way to do initial entry for 5 hours. Almost completely gave up. Finally, at the end of 5 hours, I saw what I was missing, and then it only took me 3 hours, like literally stuck. Within 3 hours of being unstuck, I compromised AD and compromised like all the machines on the exam and was done with the exam. So I completed the exam in a total of 8 hours, but literally I really completed the exam in 3 hours because for the first 5 hours, I was completely stuck. I was so freaking pissed off. Oh, Oreo Bite had the same experience, dude. Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible feeling. Gotcha. When do you know if it's a rabbit hole? I try to set a timer for myself. I would set like a 45-minute timer, and if I didn't have anything, I would move on the OSCP. But for me, I thought the OSCP was relatively straightforward. I can't do a whole lot. I can't say a whole lot without OSCP OffSec getting mad, but I thought the exam was relatively straightforward. Malware Combat said, your mom is open SSH. Yeah, your mom's open SSH. FernoSec, okay, and our experiment takes 10,000 tries on average to win this race condition. So 3 to 4 hours with the 100 connections accepted. But you know what? You know what, dude? That's the kind of thing Hack the Box would do for an easy box. They would make it a 4-hour SSH exploit and say, it was a publicly available vulnerability, therefore it's easy rated machine. That's something they would do. Have I bought the 3-month OSCP labs or the Learn 1? So I already passed the OSCP Redao, so I haven't bought any of it, but I only did the 3-month labs, and their labs sucked. I didn't use their labs. I used TCM Security, Hack the Box, and TCM Security, or TCM Hack the Box and Try Hack Me to study for the OSCP, and I ended up passing it on my first attempt. But this is what I can tell you guys, like, every machine on the OSCP is easier than an easy machine on Hack the Box, hands down. Okay, so at least I was looking at the right thing. It says what user input, and I should explain what I'm doing here. What I like about Hack the Box is they have adventure mode, which is kind of what I was doing before, where you just have flags, but they also have guided mode. Guided mode isn't like, hey, I'm going to tell you exactly how to exploit it, but it'll at least point you in the right direction. So all I'm doing is I'm going to do guided mode until I get to where I'm no longer stuck, which I think is a good strategy when you do CTFs like this. So we know that this is the field that takes user input. Oh. Which endpoint on the web application allows for user input? Weighted grade. There we go. Which column on the grade calculator page allows alphanumeric input? All right, so we know we're doing something with this category, right? Because category allows alphanumeric input, and that is what I was testing. So, guys, at least we weren't completely in a rabbit hole. At least we knew that we were targeting the right category. I'm still just kind of puzzled on how we're going to bypass any of the restrictions that are here. Like, any character that I do gets caught, and you can't even URL encode it because, like, when you URL encode stuff, you're going to have that percentage sign, and the percentage sign itself, well, usually it says malicious. Maybe not right there. Oh, that's category. What am I missing? I don't know. With the URL encoded value of the character you can use to bypass the input validation. You can't. Well, okay. It must be this. So if I do like, all right, I'm gonna try this. This fails. We're gonna automate this though. I'm not gonna manually do this, but I'm just curious. Am I URL encoding? Am I doing something wrong with my URL encoding? Because I tested most of these characters myself. Guys, if I go back to my Hack the Box Academy stuff, web, this is from their own training. Command injection. Right? Can I just copy this? And like... Where's automate? Where the frick is automate? Oh. Okay. Let's just see if any of those work. And they don't. They don't work, you piece of freaking crap. Ty Kwan said, how do you become proficient in hacking? Obviously, don't ask me. I'm apparently not proficient. Try a single percentage sign. Okay, bet. Invalid encoding. Oreo Byte says the way you become proficient in hacking is you spend 3 months of extra time writing tools that break 2 weeks later and you have no idea why. You would do category 1 equals test and then make test the payload for automate. Then make test the payload? Right, this might be escaping the template. I have a bad character after your payload. Oh, I gotcha. I see what you're saying. Okay, that's interesting. That's not something I considered. So then we'll mark this. And we'll do our simple file again. Do I still have that? Right, so you're saying like this, use test, do a bad character there. Why though? Did I do that wrong or right? Let me jump back over to my notes real quick. Kato is URL encoding your payloads. Is it? Oh, shoot. You're right. Thought I turned that off. Oh, there it is. Now it's doing it correctly, right? Oh, shoot! That one worked. Let me figure out why they didn't work in automate. Let me go back to here. So I needed to do test and then like the payload. So now if I add this, go to simple file, paste that in for my notes, turn off the URL encoding. Ah ha ha. It has to be a non-empty string in front of the payload. All right, let me, before I continue, just document some of this stuff. Wanting to question my existence. What the frick? Come on, would you please just copy normal? And then we'll drop a screenshot of Cato. Did not mean to do that. All right, we know this is the correct payload because the different length. All right. So now we might be able to do something like, who am I? Okay. Am I escaping the check now? Like, can I do whatever I want? No. What does this look like in the code? Oh, what? Am I going crazy? Oh, I need the A. Come on, Tyler. So we can do new line. Let's go back to my notes. Attempt to append our command through various injection attacks. If the command output changes from the intended user result, we have successfully exploited the vulnerability. So command injection methods, we have a new line. Most common operators for command injection. So does that... Can I do ban characters now? That's my question. Can I do this? Oh, I can. It's not executing, but now I can do whatever characters I want. So if I do that and then do like, who am I? But URL encode my and. So now I can do some like more fuzzing here. Okay, that doesn't work. So try some basic ones and I'll run this through. through some of the fuzzing. Maybe I'm missing a payload that I'm going off memory. What payload am I missing, guys? We did new line, but I can't execute commands from there, at least not that I can see. It's not actually executing. Background, I tried to do and, I guess. I didn't just do background. I don't think that's going to make a difference. I don't know if it's server-side template injection. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. But like for server-side template injection, generally you can get it to work with 7x7, and then you can do further detection to figure out what it's running. But what about the one with the new line? I know. Oh, remember, it's Ruby. Okay, yeah. Good call. That's a good point. Let me go back to that article I was reading before I got mad. Can I do something like this? Okay. It's cool. Let me read about Ruby a little bit. Let's see if we can understand what exactly is going on. All right, I'm looking for something like that. I want a quick POC to see if we are crazy. Know what I mean? Let's take this now. Let's URL encode that beast. Okay. We have command injection with Ruby. Or not command injection, rather server-side template injection. And we have it with this payload right here. So that's a good confirmation that we have it. Let me just go back. Well, we'll do this for my screenshot. Highlight this right here. Highlight this right here. And we will say okay. So now with that, we should be able to pretty easily get RCE. Like, I want to see if I can read Etsy password just for the heck of it. All right, so we'll just do the same thing. Drop that in there. Take it. I wish Burp, if any, or not Burp, Cato. If anyone from Cato watches this, if I could figure out how to set a hotkey for URL encoding, I'd be very happy. All right, that fails. That's fine. Maybe we can't read data. Okay, want to make sure that's working. Let's jump back over to the article we were looking at. So, okay, can I run system commands like that? This would be cool if I could do that, right? If I could go to the right window. So let's see if we can run a system ID command. We'll right click, convert. Why is that happening to me? Can I do it myself? No. Maybe I need to do it a little bit differently. So system ID. So what was it? So like that. Does anyone see something wrong with my syntax there? Gosh, dang it. Don't freaking jump down like that over and over again. I got true. For ID. What? Why is it telling me test true? Oh, look at that. Okay. I have command injection. There's a wget request right there. Let's document that. If I could open the right window. I'm getting closer, ladies and gentlemen. All right, there's the payload, and then we'll grab a screenshot of this. All right, so now we can use our handy dandy hack tools. Make this full screen mode on our hack tools. And our IP is 10.10.14.9. You can see it up in the corner right there. If you follow along, yours will of course be different. 1337 is fine. And we can just try to do like a bash reverse shell just for the heck of it, see what happens. I actually want to save this request because I know I have working command injection there. And we'll go over to this. $13.37. Oh, I Googled it. Account settings shortcuts for hotkey. I Googled it. Could be wrong. Oh, you're talking about Kato? I don't know where the account is. Sweet. I'll often playing around with that. I bet I can figure out a way to do a hotkey on it. See, in burp it's control U, so that's what I keep trying to do. Boom, I have a shell. Amazing. Let's drop that in our notes as well. wherever my nodes are. I'm just going to copy this full request. All right, and then our shell. I also want to turn on wrap code. And then there is our shell. We'll grab a screenshot of that. All right, we're at the 3-hour mark, ladies and gentlemen. Not going to quit, though, until we solve this lab. Not 3 hours just on this lab. I think we spent the first, was that 2 hours on our AWS pen testing stuff? But now we have access to the machine. We can go ahead and stabilize our shell. If you download the Hack Tools browser plugin, super helpful. Has great commands here because I always forget how to do this on stabilizing our shell. We can literally script kiddie our way through this there. We'll copy this, do that, and then Control Z, and this, and then this. And now, hey, I have a little bit of a better shell. We can also go to home. There's, of course, our user flag. So we'll grab our user flag and jump back over to Hack the Box here. Probably close a lot of this stuff out. Switch back over to adventure mode and drop our user flag in. The Real Bilbo asks, what is my screenshot tool? I am using Flameshot for screenshots. Difficulty, that was honestly a bit hard because of the weird encoding stuff we had to figure out how to bypass, I think. I want to, before I go any further, does she have an SSH folder? We're going to make SSH touch authorized keys. I'm just going to give myself SSH access so we have a little bit of a better shell. Oh, I didn't even generate a key. I don't remember. SSH keygen, right? I think it's SSH keygen. Yep, I was right. Think you can just run SSH keygen though. All right, cat home, Tyler, SSH, public key. Grab that. Over shell. Okay. Who was that? Was that Susan? All right. Now if SSH access is Susan, we can get out of this shell. We don't need it anymore. By shell, we have Susan. And if we ls/la, we have some things here in our home. We have a migration folder, which seems interesting. Pupil path credentials database. And yeah, we have SQLite database here with some what appear to be password hashes. We'll just copy this. I keep opening the wrong thing for my notes. Oh no, it is hack tricks. All right. And it's a pupil path. I don't know what pupil path is, but you know what does know what pupil path is? Google. Oh, there's a perfection thing. How do I hack my teacher's pupil path to change my grade? All right, we're definitely gonna look at that, but we'll say crack pupil path password hash. Oh, what's the? I need to read this Quora article real quick. Oh, Doc G Money said, by the way, I got rejected for the job at Rhino, but man, that letter was the nicest, coolest letter I've ever gotten for denial. Great vibes over there for sure. Hey, dude, I'm so sorry to hear that you didn't get the role. Seriously, that sucks, but glad you enjoyed the rejection letter. Rhino does a good job, I think, getting back to people and giving like detailed advice on how to really move to the next level. I don't understand every question. This person's helping him. All right. Find a computer on the school's network that is relatively unwatched and boot to a Linux Live CD. Scan the network looking for hosts that either by naming convention or location is also on the admin network. Throw every exploit in the book at it. Gain some kind of shell access and pivot from host to host until you find the one running the grading software. Do your research. Know what software is being used. Identify the IP block your school owns. Target social engineering techniques against the IT staff. Dig through their trash. Call the software vendor support and pose as a new teacher needing login help. You've got an advantage. You have physical access. You know the layout. You know the teachers' names. You know the school directories. Everything you could ask for. Leverage that. Hack the planet. Amazing. Well, you first just log in. Then you go to the transcript and delete the app, then re-download it, and then just put the teacher's first and last name, then put the password, the name of the school, and boom, you are in. Hey, if you want to change your grade, do the work to earn the grades you want. No, that's not the hacker way of doing it. Was there some reason you got the bad grade? Did you always do your best, or did you dilly and waste your time? Did you not try harder? I don't think your traits, if meeting any of the criteria above, are going to allow you to win at anything. Losers cheat. What are you? I love this Quora thread. Yeah, Eldrick said, didn't you get in trouble for hacking your school? That I did. Matter of fact, I got banned from using a computer at my school when I was in high school. I got called into the office or whatever with the superintendent, the principal, and the school resource officer, aka the police, and they were like, hey, me and my friend Nate, if you guys touch computers anymore, we're going to charge you with criminal charges. And I wasn't allowed to use a computer. But hack all the things. This is my favorite freaking Quora thread in the world. All right, guys. Back to this. Having too much fun. We now have a new goal. We are in the Quora scenario. We are students at this school. Our grades are terrible because we spent all of our time on Hack the Box and not actually doing our homework. But as a result, we need to update our grade in the school system. We hacked all the things. We followed that Quora guy's advice. We did the research. We did social engineering. We did our IP scan and we found the IP block. We threw all the exploits at it. We gained shell access. We found the computer. We found the pupil path credentials. This will allow us to change our grades. Our parents will not yell at us when we get our report cards because we will change our grades to all A's. The only thing left in our way is we need to figure out what this password text is doing. You know what the other thing we need to do is like, who are the other users on this box? That might be a good place to start. Who am I trying to hack? Oh, am I not trying to hack? There's no other users besides Susan. Do you think one of these users might be reusing their password for root or something, right? I don't know what kind of password hash this is. Yeah, you're right. I should probably sudo.l. I don't know Susan's password. So we have pupil path credentials. Let me just search for that file name. Maybe that will come up with like a hash type or something. Okay, perfection. I don't want to look at a walkthrough. I don't want to look at a walkthrough. I don't want to look at a walkthrough. I don't know what that is. I don't want to look at a walkthrough. Gosh, it's all walkthroughs. Is there anything that's not a walkthrough that talks about pupil path? It's all walkthroughs. Perfection, perfection, perfection. Okay. Well, let's just read pupil. Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hack pupil path. Quick guide to pupil path. I love the color. No, bro, you didn't tell me how to hack you. I'm going to get my YouTube channel freaking demonetized for talking about hacking schools and breaking grades. We got a pupil path guide. Okay, these are like real schools. I don't really want to play around on their website. How about this? Pupil lab docs. Oh, So a pupil lab is apparently also an eye thing going on here. Okay. I don't think that's a rabbit hole. It's pretty clearly pointing us to this. No, well, I didn't want to do that. Strings. So if I copy that, Hail Mary. I am IT support at my school, and the teacher lost their password, but I have the hash. SHA 256. Well, yeah, it's not going to be too helpful. But oops, didn't mean to type that. So I could try like 1470, you think? You know, Hashcat can also try to auto detect it. Here's our hashes. We could do cd home Tyler hack the box perfection. Yeah, no, hashes.txt. And then we can pull these out. I mean, there's a few different ways. I think I can do like cat hashes, cut, delimiter. That field 2. And that'll give me the hashes. Okay. Okay. What, auto detect? How do I on Hashcat? Oh, the last one is kind of missing characters. You're right. Let's find out. Let's go back to our terminal. So Miller. Oh, I think, you know what ChatGPT maybe did? He didn't understand where these hashes separate from. Let's do this a little bit differently. I'm going to mouse pad this. What? What's this? Oh, Pluma? Bet, dude. I'll do it myself. I'm guessing that's where his name ends. Guessing that's where his name ends. His name ends. Does that look right? It's probably a way easier way to do this. I guarantee it. I'm overcomplicating this, but you know, best way to do things. Okay. Okay, cool. So now it's at least seeing my hash. Beautiful. So we'll do hashcat-m 1400 dash, I think it's W for wordless. User share wordless. Oh, shoot. What user? There we go. Oh, W is John. Hashcat's just a path to the file. Gotcha. What's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, token link exception on 4 of the 5 hashes. That's not good. Why do you guys think that's not working? Maybe this is a rabbit hole, but I don't know. It seems to very clearly be pointing us to do this. See. Maybe view the data in SQLite browser to see if the hashes are broken. I mean, that's probably worth it. I just want to be done, guys. I really only need Susan's hash and do sudo-l. Yeah, you're probably right. I probably only need Susan's hash, and maybe they are malformed, possibly. Can I do something simple like, and then go over to this, perfection.hackthebox 1337, people credentials. All right, now I have them on my host machine. SQLite browser, SQLite browser. I don't know how to install that. I already have it. All right, let's go ahead and open our database right here. And we have users. And we have our names, our passwords. So here is Susan, for example. if I just pass it the hash? Whoops. Okay. I think it was a broken hash. Let me just try Susan real quick. And let's see if this works. If Susan doesn't work, I'll pass it all the hashes. Oh, did it get exhausted? Freaking lazy. That's why you got exhausted. Because you're lazy, you piece of crap. Oh, I need to do mode. I'll paste the hash in chat. Messes up the format. I don't know if you can get it from that. Maybe I should get out of this rabbit hole and at least look around a little bit. Here's that Ruby app. Let's try linpeas. I'm sure I'm missing something really obvious, but I'm tired now, guys. I've been staring at my computer for 3.5 hours. You know, there might be sudo. I need Susan's password. I need Susan's password. I need to crack Susan's hash, and we would be able to just sudo su. So surely we're supposed to crack that hash somehow, some way, right? Let's try a few other things, since I'm quite certain that's going to be the way in. Some hint might be there in the machine. Oh, in a text file. Okay. Bet, dude. I'll go check it out in a second. Let me just drop this in here and then I'll go see if I can find some hints. Okay. Thought that was worth checking. We definitely need a cracker hash. I don't even care about the rest of this stuff. It's not going to be interesting. Since she's in the pseudo group. It's not running as root though, is it? Or is it? When it reboots, CDs over to the Ruby app, runs Ruby on main RB when it reboots. That can't possibly be it because like multiple people are using this. We can't just be rebooting machines to execute crap, I don't think. Yeah, I know she's in the pseudo group. You shut your dirty mouth. I don't know her password though. How about you tell me your freaking password, you scrub? All right, let's all right, Susan. My parents are going to be mad if I can't update my grade, Susan. So we really need to figure this out, Susan. I should call her freaking Karen at this point. Okay, so there's nothing there. Bash history we can't see. Profile is not going to be interesting for us. Ruby app's not going to be. Well, I don't think Ruby app. No, I don't think there's anything in Ruby app that was interesting. Okay, let's go to like var. Nope. Have you checked the dumb hack the box file locations? What do you mean by that? Do you have something in mind? Oh, and var spool is what you're saying? Okay. That's a silly spot, but there's actually a few ways we could have found that, I bet. Due to our transition to Jupyter grades because of the pupil path data breach, I thought we should also migrate our credentials, our including the other students in our class, to the new platform. I also suggest a new password specification to make things easier for everyone. The password format is first name backwards underscore randomly generated integer between 1 and 1,000,000. Note that all letters of the first name should be covered into lowercase. Please hit me with the updates on the migration when you can. I am currently registering with our university with the platform. Tina, you're a delightful student. So do I have to like... Oh, no worries. Yeah, pupil path credentials has a password hash in there. I have some ideas. Let me just... I still don't know how this machine is rated easy. Where's my notes? Is it here? I'm already there. Okay. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna phone a friend. Susan something. Okay, Xerox shared it as well. Does this look right to you? It'd be this one right here then, right? Here, let me see if yours is the same as what he's given me. So you're saying, I don't know all of his crazy stuff here. So we can do this hashcat masking wizardry craziness. All right. Does anyone know if I did this right? Oh, that would work too. Cyber Samurai showed a way of doing a sweet, simple bash script. Here, I can try that way. Let me try that. Yeah, so for I in 0 to whatever, do echo. Oh, it took you 4 minutes? In freaking sane. Are you joking me? I'm not going to wait 4 minutes to brute force this. Okay, Furno Sec, how did you do it over in chat? Did you do this hashcat masking? Oh, my time estimate in hashcat. I thought you meant you successfully did it. No, yeah, it's probably not using my GPU because I'm running this in a virtual machine. I'll put the hash in chat, dude. Bet. I just don't like showing my host machine on here. I don't even think I have hashcat on this host machine. Surely this isn't the way if it takes that long, though, right? Like, there must be a different way. Can I, like... No, you wouldn't be able to do SSH any quicker. The format is 1400 Oreo byte. Oh, you mean this format? I'll drop it in chat here. The integer is the 0 to something. Let's pull it up real quick. There's no other user Cyber Samurai that we can really do. We need Susan's password specifically. Oh wait, we cracked it. Guys, I didn't even realize it was cracked. Did you see that? We cracked it. Look at that. Alright, let's grab this whole thing. It was literally right in front of me, and I I didn't see it. Oh man, story of my life when it comes to hacking. All right. I need to keep this masking thing in mind. I remember doing masking on Try Hack Me on their red team pathway for the password attack module, but I it would have taken me a while to figure that out. But it's pretty simple to understand what it's doing here, right? The mask is just Susan and Susan backwards, and then we know we need this amount of numbers as we pass it over. Digits or whatever. And then it gives us this password right here. So now I am root. Beautiful. Can someone tell me how that's an easy machine? Either I'm very much a noob or that machine is not easy. Like I was saying, for those of you going through OSCP, this is like 10 times the difficulty of anything you will encounter on the OSCP by far. Just this one machine. Oh, let me grab the right one. Perfection has been pwned, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, FernoSec said, I think the problem solving isn't easy, finding some of these things out of all the possible things, but the actual techniques involved, SSTI, filter bypass, basic password cracker, easy. Yeah, good point. Definitely a fun box though. Like, I really enjoyed it. Hats off to whoever created this box, but I don't think it was as easy as other people were rating it. Now, what I love to do, guys, when I am done with the Hack the Box machine is look at the write-up from 0xDF, one of Hack the Box content creators, and I love his write-ups. He goes into a lot of detail, and I always learn something from there. So let's see how he did this. So nothing too interesting. And playing around a bit with the post request to get the calculation, I'll find sometimes I get the message malicious input blocked. Yes, absolutely. I got it all the freaking time. Seems there's a list of bad characters. I'll use FFUF to try each character with the following options. So what does his FFUF look like? So it's just fuzzing the category. He gets a list of blocked characters, including most punctuation. Imagining the server. Thinking of how Ruby is checking for bad characters, a common pattern is to use regular expression. This code could be do something like this in Ruby. Or it could be a negative check. New line injection. I think to notice that in either of the cases above, the regex doesn't check across new lines, which is what we discovered. I exploited a similar vuln in Clicker. The idea is that I can send something like this, right, which is exactly what we did, and see if it's flagged. Where that is the URL encoded new line, I'm including something at the front of the string in case the regex is like the second one above, where it needs to match on something. And it works. FFUF confirms it works on all characters. And then, yeah, we found the server-side template injection, remembering that it was Ruby. Yep, so he URL encoded it like what we did. RCE, he did it that way. I got a shell. Okay, we did our shell basically the same way for the most part. I think I used system, but similar. Shell is root. You know, where I really fell into that rabbit hole was right away I found migration. And because I found migration, I thought, okay, this is definitely going to be the way in, which it was, kind of, but I wasted a lot of time trying to brute force this. Oh, he just used SQLite right on the machine. That would have worked too. Ruby app has code. ManRB is the full code, that there's nothing interesting. I'll look at it a little and be on root. Mail, that's where I don't normally check. I don't know if I've ever done a box where I check var mail right there. I am curious. Oh, so he did hashcat mask. 0, which is the default. Here I'm going to use A3 for brute force, which means try all possible passwords that match the given mask. The password mask would be a combination of static characters and variables. So exactly what we did, hashcat, there's our hash A34. So the dash A3 means brute force mode, and then Susan Nassus, and then passing it our digits, right? If I'm understanding that correctly. Yeah, so our digits right there. And then we got it. So he analyzes this. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to read through the rest of this myself later on. I'm getting tired, guys. How long have I been on stream now? Wow. I've been on stream almost 4 hours. So, hey, for those of you watching this on YouTube, you were just here for this Hack the Box machine. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as we stumbled our way through this really fun machine. Learned a lot on these filter bypasses, server-side template injection in Ruby, enumerating some mail stuff, doing hashcat masking. I learned a lot. That was a super fun box. So thank you for those of you on YouTube watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. All right, now I'm just here with you guys. Oh, taking OSCP in the morning, says Clay Hacks. That's amazing, dude. Good luck. Let me know how it goes. And guys, we still, you guys hung out a long time with me. Seriously. You're amazing. We still have a bunch of people on, even just on Twitch. We have almost 40 people hanging out on Twitch. Let's find someone to raid and show our support to someone else in the community if anyone is streaming. So let's go to infosecstreams.com. We have OffSec. I don't know who that is. Let me grab my headphones so I have audio. Switch over to this. And let's see. I'm pulling up my other monitor. Give me just a second. Oh, he speaks Spanish. I think. I don't know Spanish. We can still rate him though. Is there anyone else streaming right now? Let's see. We might be one of the only people doing some hacking. Oh, here's some try hack me. I think Spanish as well. Well, hey, that's fine. Let's show. Sky has 3 viewers. Like I said, I don't know Spanish, but let's show this guy some love. He has 3 people watching now. Let's raid him with 30 more people, and just show him support. Follow, subscribe if you can, and our raid term is hack smarter, not harder. Hack smarter, not harder. If you want to join the raid, come over on Twitch. You can join the raid. Before I do the raid, though, I want to get him pulled up on my other monitor. So I'm good to go. Mute him. All right, so the hack term is hack smarter, not harder. And we will raid eWar01. We'll jump his 5 subs up to, I don't know, 35 or something. For the rest of you watching on the other platforms, thank you for hanging out. We'll be jumping off shortly once I get this raid set up. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. See you guys later.